and welcome to the LCK Challenger League Grand Finals for Spring 2023. I am Valdez, with me is Chronicler, and this is going to be a doozy. DRX up against DK. Only one team can claim the title this spring.
It's the matchup we were promised last year. Then it didn't happen. DRX kind of bombed. Nongshim was able to make a miracle run and then got beaten down rather mercilessly by D+ in that final. But this time around, DRX with an amazing reverse sweep in the upper bracket was able to make it through. As we are actually going to take a longer look. The place actually packed today as well. Really, really cool to see all the Challenger fans come out.
Absolutely. Both of these teams, obviously, from the LCK and from Challenger League, have so many fans that cheer on the entire organization. As we even got the smoke machines coming out here. The hype is real. As, of course, this Korean caster's name is the Marine. He's been around for a very long time. You guys may have seen him on, some of the transitions. Show the Korean caster, then it comes to us, but he is a legendary caster in the Korean scene, and he is going to be introducing our teams on the stage here tonight. And this is going to be a fun one, Chronicler. It's very difficult to say. I'm expecting a 3-2, though. Either way. Neither team. I don't know.
Which you never really know. We were actually discussing this beforehand. Really the only score that would surprise me is a 3-1 either way. I could see either team 3-0 with how they've been playing recently. D+ showing incredible momentum coming in. But DRX, they got a reverse sweep off. Twice, Valdez.
Yeah.
In 1 week.
It takes a lot of mental fortitude to make that happen. Besides just being really good at the game, right? So these guys could be the favorites in your mind, as they have made the run essentially through the upper bracket the entire way. They have not dropped a best of 5 to get here, only having played twice, as there they are on stage being introduced by the Marine.
And DRX, a roster that was called by some better than most LEC teams last year before they bombed out of playoffs. Who would do that? It was me. I was guilty. This was, of course, the lineup with Peach and June. June now currently doing a great job in the LCK as their counterparts. I'd say still the best top side of the map that we have within Challengers. Oh yeah, 3rd finals in a row.
I'm just really happy for this team that, by the way, Bible up here as well, but I'm just really happy that Pulbay has come back in a form. I think that's a big reason why these guys are having a lot of success recently. Their 3-2 over T1, as well as their 3-0 over KT, the last 2 best of 5s that they did play, to make it to these to this grand finals, rather. So it's going to be a fun one. I think absolutely they can challenge DRX this time around. And
D+, as mentioned, 3rd time they are in the finals. They won last year's spring against Nongshim, then lost last year's summer against Nongshim. Very memorable series, that second one. And here we are, finally, in the flesh. We are in fact real, and not just an AI. We are right where we've always been, which I kind of love. I think that's part of the appeal of Challengers. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm glad that we've had this entire season to officially cast Challengers. If not, we probably would have been in a hotel room somewhere with Chronicler. Although last time we didn't join you for that final, but maybe Chronicler would have been there co-streaming for you guys, as the rest of us were out just having a grand old time. And Chronicler joined us later, but
still good. It was a good night.
And we heard about the crazy run that Nongshim had to make it there, and the fact they're in LCK now is insane. But now we get to cast DRX versus DK.
Yeah, and what I really am happy about is that Challenger really is something that you can hear about it and you're like, oh yeah, that sounds fun, but it's not the same when you're experiencing it. And I'm glad all of you guys now truly know. From the bottom of your heart, with the reverse sweeps and the elder flips and the teams looking really good and then looking really bad in the next game. That's just the type of league it is. The Nessuses, the reverse sweeps. That's challengers, and spring about to come to an end after today's series. But
You
what a
never
journey
know.
it's been.
You never know what you're going to get. From day to day,
really don't.
could be a straight up 3-0. Maybe we have what happened yesterday where the casters were like, oh, I guess DK is just much better
just
than them.
way better.
That's weird. By
It
the way,
is.
of course, even though it is a grand finals, we still have chat. We can see everything you guys are saying. So hello to everybody who is watching. Papa Smithy also joining us. I saw he posted that DK was going to take a 3-0 tonight.
Well, yesterday he said it as well, and he was right.
He was right.
Yeah, and I was expecting, I was the only one who predicted D+ to win, but not even remotely in the way that
Atlas,
they did. Atlas also here. Beautiful.
Yundo.
Bread. Yeah, I actually made a really nice raisin and cinnamon bread, but I didn't
Wolf's
bring
here
it.
as well.
Oh my God, we got the
Chronicler
whole
made
gang?
a full loaf of cinnamon raisin bread, and he didn't bring any for me.
Well, I made the loaf yesterday, and like there's only like 2 slices left. Because it's really good. But I'll make another one for tomorrow, and then I'll bring that on Sunday. Pinky promise.
Yeah.
And I'll get you your cinnamon raisin bread
And
with maybe some butter.
You know what's really cool about this finals as well is that it's right before the lower bracket final of LCK, which is tomorrow, right? We get lower bracket final into grand final Saturday, Sunday here in Korea. We had that here in Challenger League, lower bracket final yesterday into grand final today. So it all feels like one big lead up, you know, to the pinnacle of League of Legends in Korea, which is, of course, LCK final, which is on Sunday. But we're just like slowly building the hype, and these kind of like feel like the opening band. You know what I mean? It's like you go to a concert, they're opening for like the bigger name or whatever.
And you know they're gonna be big down the line, right? Because tomorrow we actually have a challenger player as well in PACE, and there's a ton of players, not just today but yesterday and even last Monday and Tuesday at the start of the week, where there are so many of these individual players, Hype, Hambach. Forrest, if he can, fix some of his issues, Smash no matter what, that are going to make it to the LCK and are going to be the next big thing. So such a cool. I actually really like the idea of it being the opening.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's really cool.
It's like, it's like a festival or something, right? And like Thursday, Friday, you got like some of the more calm stuff going on. You got like the opening bands, the builds up, and then, you have like the Foo Fighters on Saturday, and then you got like Metallica on Sunday or something, right?
Nice.
By the way, Fast Earl 23 is here with us.
Very
again,
important.
We need to give this guy the VIP.
Also,
it'll happen eventually.
Yeah, I tried yesterday.
I also saw Ghost Lady is joining us.
Very
saying
nice.
that she wants to have the cinnamon bread. Makes sense.
Wolf as well. So I will just make a whole loaf and I'll bring it and we'll dole it out on Sunday. Sure, we will have evidence that the cinnamon bread, cinnamon raisin bread actually has been shared. Yeah, very important. What I really enjoy is that this official broadcast,
Bakery.
really is just a continuation of why the co-stream was so fun. But now all of you guys are also here, so it's just the same but better. And you as well, chat. So I'm really excited for today.
It's a community event.
It really is.
Right?
Yeah,
everybody's involved.
It's the festival.
Yeah,
festival of Korean League.
Foo Fighters better than Metallica. I don't agree with that, but that's okay. Foo Fighters are great
as well.
It's a fun
discussion. Yeah.
Will it be Cronny or Real Streamer that makes the bread?
It
Generally,
will be
Chronicler
me.
makes the bread. So
yeah.
Yeah,
I make bread, and usually I cook when it's not Indonesian. When it is Indonesian food, I will not get close because I can't help.
Rare, wonderful moment where the grassroots thing transitions into a produced product without you losing the magic.
True. Love that.
Thanks, Chronicler.
Amazing.
We wouldn't be here if not for you.
Oh, shout out to everyone else as well. Wolf and Atlas, I know you're listening. And even Ox, the new caster. Ox.
Even Ox, don't forget about him. Ox.
He was Ox. Yeah.
No, Ox.
Ox, yeah.
Are you just saying it with an accent? I can't tell.
Yeah, we're joking. No, because there was a comment on Pogstate about Ox and Huni. Like the animal.
Yes.
That's Ox, right?
Yeah, Ox.
Yeah. Oh, is that just your accent?
I don't know. Is it?
I feel like the way I want to say it is Ox, the animal. But maybe that's just me
Ox,
being
the animal.
I don't know. I don't think you're saying the same.
Well, I don't know because,
Or you can't hear your own accent.
I guess so. but if I say ox, it's like ox because it's New York.
You're from New York.
So it's very different from
it's very
ox.
close.
So if I want to say ox, I really need to be like ox.
Yeah, ox.
Ox.
Yeah.
Like I'm from Boston.
What
is ox here? Because
no.
He's probably playing League of Legends, is what I would imagine.
Yeah, he's really good at League, as it turns out.
Orcs? Yeah, something like that.
Sure. Yeah, I like that.
This lady says ox.
Yeah, that works as well.
Yeah. Chavi. We'll see some Chavi.
Ox got
tomorrow.
Masters with 67. That was with a few games duoed with us as well.
Yeah, he also duoed with Chronicler and me, who are not,
We're not
Masters level.
And he still was.
And some of those losses were due to me.
And me. I feel like he would. I feel like I lost him like two or three games. You know, maybe one Valdez game. He could have had a better. Could have had 70% win rate. But he's a nice dude.
Yeah.
So we just played together.
With us going up to Master.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
then
fun.
he had Diamond, and then we couldn't play with him anymore.
Because he was too good.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
I almost got in a plat yesterday, but I failed my pro. It just got smashed. So
I hope no team gets smashed today. I really like both of these two teams and their respective stories, and it's such a cool... a year after DRX bombing out and D+ winning, that if they want to win again... D+, that is, they got to go through who was expected to be their big opponent last spring. Really, really cool. I filled my plat promo 6 times.
Why is
That's
young
rough.
Keanu Reeves casting Green League?
Is that
Must
you?
be you?
I don't think I feel like
it's
I don't...
us.
It's
like this guy in the middle
which
here.
Which of us two looks like young Keanu? I feel like
I saw
it's
the podcast.
You,
Please
no?
don't ban me. Yeah, just be nice, be friendly, and I won't. There was one guy who made the comment who's like, I don't know why I got banned. I'm like, you probably made a really
probably were not friendly
nasty
to
comments
someone.
to Atlas.
What about the crowd yelling he's handsome? No, that's not a thing.
Who is the crowd? Oh, they're probably talking about the players on stage.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. If you guys are wondering, they are doing like a full Korean interview, but
yeah, Terrible Gamer is actually there.
Yeah,
he's in the
Terrible
crowd.
Gamer. He's in the crowd. He's here today with us, and I could have given it a shot and maybe translated it, but from the interviews we have seen in the past, we have seen many a pre-match interview. I know exactly how it went. I can tell you guys. The players were
wait. Let's try.
We practiced a lot.
The opponents are very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to really have to give it our best.
But I'm still going to predict 3-0.
Yeah, or 3-1.
Yeah.
3-1 if they think you're good.
And then the team that thinks they're the underdogs, they're like, I think it's going to be a hard match, but we're going to take the win 3-2.
Yeah.
And
we have some special things in draft, which we then never see. Yeah, we have something prepared. Sometimes. Well, with these two teams, it's challengers and it's these two teams, so we will actually see it.
Okay, wait. Hold the phone. Fast Turtle says, I predict 3-2 DRX if Thanatos is on Sion in the first game. He needs good champ matchups versus clear, and he will pop off. So Fast Turtle has spoken, actually going for DRX. So this is going to be interesting. We get to see if Papa Smithy is more correct or if Fast Turtle is more correct. We will also have our predictions eventually to come up on the screen so you guys can see what we predicted, which is...
John Wick and Loki casting. Who's John Wick and who's Loki? I don't see it.
You're Loki.
I'm Loki?
For sure, yeah.
I don't feel like I look like Tom Hiddleston.
The only reason I don't want to take credit for the Keanu Reeves thing, but I have heard it in the past before.
You have?
Yeah. I don't know
why.
I don't see it myself.
Yeah, I can, you know. It's tough because he's had long hair for most of the time.
Yeah. I have had long hair in the past, but not as cool as his.
Not John Wick.
Yundo went for the DK3-2. We have a couple of chatters saying 3-1. And Chronicler's 100% Loki. Guys, we do have a interview video. Let's sit and listen for a while, and I'll try to translate a little bit later on.
정글러 스펀지 배영준입니다. 프로 생활에서 결승전을 가본다는 게 정말 뜻깊은 일 같고
저희가 패패승승승으로 2번 연속해서 되게 많은 대회 경험을 쌓은 것 같아서 잘할 수 있을 것 같습니다.
안녕하세요. 저는 D+ 기아 챌린저스 팀 정글러 루시드 최용혁이라고 합니다.
미드라이너 풀배 정준입니다.
원딜을 맡고 있는 라헬 조민성입니다. 최초로 3연속 결승 진출로 알고 있는데
너무 많은 경기들을 치러서 힘들지만 그래도 힘들게 결승인 만큼 우승하도록 하겠습니다.
저희 팀의 강점을 보면 일단 저희 딜러진들은 누구 하나 없이 다 캐리를 해줄 수 있는 그런 거라 생각하고
탑, 정글, 미드, 바텀 전부 다 그 감독님까지 캐리가 가능한 게 장점인 것 같습니다.
저희 팀은 1년 반 동안 맞춰온 게 있기 때문에 엄청 세다고 생각하고 있습니다.
오브젝트에서 싸움을 잘하는 것 같습니다.
저희가 결승에서 DRX를 이길 확률은 100%라고 생각합니다. 저희가 더 잘하니까요.
95% 정도라고 생각하고 있고요. DRX가 2대 0일 때 강해지기 때문에 방심을 하지 않는 게 중요할 것 같습니다.
90% 정도 된다고 생각합니다. 10% 정도는 정말 루시 선수의 슈퍼 플레이 그거 아니면 저희가 운영으로 찍어 누를 것 같습니다.
DRX 팀의 약점은 그냥 모든 선수가 약점이라고 생각하고 있습니다.
좀 플레타 선수가 캐리를 못할 때가 많아서 좀 경계가 되진 않는 것 같아요.
그건 아니라고 생각합니다. 제가 누군지 각인시켜 드리겠습니다.
솔직히 라엘 선수? 저희 바텀한테 하루 종일 라인전 치실 것 같아서
그거는 제가 보여드려야 될 것 같고 저도 세텝 선수가 가장 경기 안 되는 것 같습니다. 대회를 보면 아시다시피 굉장히 많이 죽는 거를 알 수 있을 것 같아요. 세텝 선수 쪽 집중 공격을 하면은 잘 당해줄 것 같습니다.
포지션 신경 쓰시면서 하면 좀 잘해주실 것 같습니다.
저는 풀베 선수가 가장 경계되지 않는 것 같습니다. 대회나 아니면 스크림을 봤을 때 항상 저희 팀 경진이가 풀베 선수를 항상 찍어 누르는 상황이 좀 많이 나오더라고요.
그렇게 방심하시면 큰일 납니다.
혼지 선수는 팀이 굉장히 좀 잘한다 생각하고 있어서 약간 버스 받는 포지션이라고 생각하고 있어요.
솔직히 말하면 루시는?
루시 선수가
루시드 선수가 되게 경계되는 것 같고요. 되게 창의적인 동선도 짜고 약간 구도도 되게 좀 잘 이해하시는 것 같아서 루시드 선수만 경계하면 될 것 같습니다.
절대 저를 막을 수 없다고 생각하기 때문에 한번 잘 막아보시길 바라겠습니다.
픽 같은 거는 새로 연구할 수도 있고 뭐 새로운 픽 준비할 수도 있고 해서 좀 해보면서 할 것 같습니다.
저희는 준비 시간 같은 거 딱히 필요 없어서 잠만 잘 자면 이길 것 같습니다.
오늘 무조건 3대 0으로 깔끔하게 이기겠습니다. 다 같이 댄스?
다 하는 거예요.
기회가 된다면 스펀지 선수랑 같이 노래 한 곡 불러보겠습니다.
남자 둘이서 그렇게 듀엣을 하는 건 좋은 그림이 아닌 것 같아서 사용하겠습니다.
좀 패패승승승이라는 좀 말도 안 되는 걸로 오긴 했는데 꼭 승승승해서 좀 칼퇴시켜 드리겠습니다.
되게 힘겹게 결승 올라왔는데 꼭 마지막까지 웃을 수 있도록 열심히 잘 해보겠습니다.
Thank you, players, for the trash talk. I know you guys could not understand that, and I will do my best to summarize it. There was a lot of
They were really funny.
It was good trash talk. Okay, like
Yeah.
sometimes LCK they're a little bit more safe, right? But these guys, it's challengers, a little bit less eyes on them. So Sponge, a lot of trash talk. It seemed like a lot of the guys on DRX only respect Lucid. And they were like calling out the other players. Like, there's a lot of times that Pulbe has gotten carried. There's a lot of times that Rahel has gotten carried. So we only respect Lucid. We're only going to pay attention to him. Even Sponge was like, or not Sponge, Pleto was like, I think 10% of the time we lose to like a Lucid super play, and 90% of the other times we're just gonna take the wins. There was some things where it's like if we win 3-0, Rahel said they were gonna get up. They're all gonna get up on stage and dance. And then one of his teammates was like, "Yeah, I don't think we're gonna do that." I think that was Pulbe. And then someone on DRX said they wanted to do like a duet if they win, and then the other guy was like, "No, I don't think it's good for two men to do a duet on stage." So
Boo.
it is what it is. I say boo to that as well. And Bible said they would get the series with 3-0 during the interview.
I actually really liked the headcanon that y'all had for Trash Talk. That was there was some gems in
I'm
there.
gonna send you back to bronze.
Yeah.
It had a similar vibe.
It
you know?
really
They
did.
didn't say that, but they were definitely not pulling any punches.
No,
They
and
were
I-
like, no, you got carried a lot. Like,
Yeah.
actually, we don't respect you. We respect Lucid.
It really
That's it.
it really did feel like the perfect, like none of it felt like actual meme, but they were definitely trash talking each other. It was
Oh,
great.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
really
it was
really good. Usually in LCK, it's just Lahens that actually trash talks.
Yeah, Showmaker does sometimes.
He does, yeah.
Unfortunately,
Guma does.
he won't be there.
Yeah, he won't. Faker doesn't, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Does Carrier?
Not
really, right? Because he's like,
no.
oh, I'm the best. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
I need to trash talk. Zeus definitely doesn't.
Imagine if someone did
Honor
a
a
Fire
little
Bet
bit.
Hero ceremony after a win. I hope that happens. We can only pray because his ceremonies were the best. So, today, DRX versus DK, the grand finals of LCK Challengers for spring. DRX, of course, reverse sweeping KT, who went down and then lost to DK in the 3-0. And now, I don't know who's going to win from here.
No, I really don't know. And that's the cool thing here, because the level of play when D+ are at their best, I think, is the highest in challengers. And it's something that's really funny as we went over like the course of this playoffs. I was, I think, one of the only ones that kept predicting D+, which was obviously wrong when they played against KT for the first time. And that was mostly because of what I saw last year from this team, right? When I followed them very closely. And then in the last two best of fives, you guys actually got to see as well, because we had like some moments during the split, but it's kind of up and down for this team. What D+ can do when they're playing at their peak, which is nuts. And they're really, really, really good.
Yeah.
But prior to playoffs, they just didn't really do that. And DRX dunked on them 2-0 in the final week as well, which really, and they haven't faced before yet either, makes for a very interesting grand finals. They're very hard to predict which way it's going to go.
Yes, very difficult to predict, Chronicler, but we did have to, as is contractually required. Not actually, but they did ask for our predictions, and we'll get to those a little bit later. We're going to take a look at some of the team stats here. We have kills per game. The game time of DRX in playoffs has been quite fast. Generally, even in this meta, I think around 32 minutes is the average. So both of these teams a little bit faster than normal. And of course, if you are taking some very strong wins, that is the way it would go.
What I love is DRX red side versus blue side win percentage, which comes off of clear. That's just clear, actually. It's Nasus, it's Malphite, it's the counter picks that he's been able to get fairly consistently. And that makes for a very interesting top lane matchup here today, because Thanatos has done the same thing, where if he gets a counter matchup from a carry into a tank, he will take over the game and dunk on his opponent. But Clear, when given the counter pick in a carry matchup versus tank, will take over the game and dunk on his opponent. So that makes a really interesting setup here today, where DRX will have side selection here because, of course, they're from the upper bracket. Are they going to start off on the red side? Because their level of play wouldn't make it. There we go. Look at that. Look at that
Yeah.
KDA on Malphite and Nasus. Look at this man go.
Look at it.
17.
Yeah. The Malphite is kind of insane nowadays. I think people realize that you can't just get away with playing some certain picks if Malphite is available. You can counterpick Malphite. A lot of players kind of struggled to do that, but I think in this top matchup, we shouldn't see much trouble in that. Like, I think Thanatos and Clear can both find a way to either punish the Malphite or draft around it. But absolutely, Clear is someone you have to look at, if not just for the Nasus pick, also for his insane plays and counter picks you were mentioning.
And Sly Green here from Clear. Even when DRX was struggling, both this year, last year, Clear has been the one player that I think never really jumped in level. Sponge just needed a lot of time after Peach left. Team very clearly felt his loss, as Piero also had to step into some big shoes with June moving up. But Claire was like the most consistent force on this team, even when the team was struggling. And obviously, right now, one of the best top laners in Challengers. Piero has had a great development throughout the split. Do you think that the level of shot calling that made this team truly elite last year was reliant on June, and we haven't quite seen that? But when it comes to laning phase, when it comes to team fighting, Piero has definitely been able to step up.
Yeah, his Rakan has been beautiful, and no doubt we'll see more of that today. As we'll take a look at some of the key players on the side of DK as well, and just dive a little bit deeper into this. Lucid is pretty obvious, I think.
Yeah.
You have to look at Lucid.
Oh.
We absolutely should have him. But first we will take a look at Thanatos. And you were talking about how the top side of the map is insane for this team.
And it's Thanatos, it's Poolbay, and it's Lucid. And Thanatos and Lucid have been here for basically the entire split. Both have taken some time off. Lucid had a couple of rough last weeks at the end of the round robin too. Poolbay just wasn't that great up until very recently when he refound his form. But Thanatos, like Clear, has been an impeccable force. His Gnar is one of the few Gnars that gets away with like going into cannon and being fine, which generally is not a thing that happens. Cannon very often picked as a counter pick into the Gnar. And it's because his team fighting and his mastery of the champion is extremely good. When you look at how he plays out the fights, when he has his Mega Gnar, how he's able to, and his team is able to play around it, it is reminiscent of some much stronger teams when we go back up in the LCK. And
so we're not going to highlight Lucid.
No.
We will highlight Rahel, who did not die.
He did not.
In their match against KT. He even got POG for his Jin play in game number 1, and then he was allowed to play Zeri 2 games in a row, which is very interesting. The pick bans, the drafts and challengers, I think oftentimes are more focused on taking away some power picks for individual players or teams. We saw like Maokai and Sion banned every single game against T1.
Oh yeah.
Which leaves a lot of stuff open, including Annie,
and
Zeri, stuff like this.
And the reason why, I hope we get the jungle matchup as like the highlight matchup. If that isn't the case, New Jeans fans represent. Love that. Velda's now a new fan as well.
Yeah. Very catchy music.
Actually has been
listening a little bit.
Yeah, he's been partaking. But what I want to highlight is that I do think that Rahel's performance is one of the big reasons why the team has gotten better, because even when he did get great picks, because of his topside opening up bans, he was not able to deliver at all. This has never been about Rahel, this team, but Rahel was actively a detriment, I think, in many a situation. And once that weakness was taken away, D+ have looked so much better, and it's very reminiscent of what they did last year. Topside carries, bot side is consistent, as the casters yesterday was saying very aptly. It's just Dom1 from like 2019. It's just the same principle, and DRX did in fact pick red side here.
They did, and a very interesting choice. Obviously, they're a team that can use it extremely well, and you know, I told you coming into today, I was hoping maybe just blue side would win 5 games in a row, so we get 5 games, so we have the back and forth and have that fun. But maybe DRX just start off with a win on red side with their choice. We'll have to see what they do have prepared, as Malphite is banned, which is pretty nice to see. You will see that in challengers. Sejuani also taken off the table.
Now, with Vi and Malphite gone, Zeri first pick could be a thing here. Varus is another pick. Varus really does struggle into Malphite. Another reason why we've seen the Malphite ban come through very often. But, you know, Caitlyn, Lux, and/or Karma lanes are still very, very good. There's no reason not to try that. Now, DRX can respond here with Varus Karma. Heimer not available here. And that is, I think, one of the reasons why DRX might feel a little bit pushed into a corner here when it comes to picking up their support.
Varus pretty strong. Sion left open for now. Will we see DRX go for any Sion play?
Spawn's like, Pigly, I dare you. I dare you, Lucid. Do it, man.
Yeah, Rek'Sai,
Oh, maybe he's
not the choice.
Maybe he's baiting Lucid
Yeah.
to pick
He's like,
the
by the
old
way,
counter
did you forget
pick.
about this one? Lucid's not going to play Rek'Sai. It's not going to happen. Will he play Maokai, though? Maokai could even go like Maokai Sion. Obviously, they are on blue side, so a little bit less strong in that fact. But Nilly would be very interesting.
Oh.
No way.
Is it actually going to... Okay, well, they're trying to bait out some responses, right? And I do like this. The Lux pickup is going to happen no matter what. And by picking your jungler in further, you give them less time to respond. So might be a little bit harder for DRX here. Expecting the Karma here on R3, because if you don't and the Karma gets banned away, there's very little that can withstand the pressure of Lux and Caitlyn in the early game here. It's just Maokai. Be free. Viego, makes sense.
Viego. And it's going to be nice because you're setting up for a really strong 2v2, right? You can pick like Ahri, a LeBlanc, you know, whatever. Then you have Prio in mid, and you can get Prio in bot side. You can enable your Caitlyn Lux to do exactly what they want to do. So I really like what DK are setting up for here. DRX obviously will have a couple of bans before we do get to that, as Leona. So they're going to say, you know, you might want to look to dive bot, you might want to, you know, win the lane, and we will give you that. But Leona will be able to set up a lot of plays as the game comes along.
And also means that this is probably going to be the on-hit variety of Varus, which, like, I hope it's still lethality, even though we usually see on-hit combined with Leona. I don't think you get to auto into Caitlyn Lux lane, so we'll see whether Plata is able to play. You were talking about LeBlanc and Ahri. I 100% agree, which is why DRX probably is going to ban away one of them, plus Lissandra, and then pick the other. Lissandra, not only an amazing pick for Poolbay, also really good with Viego, extremely oppressive in this style of composition, so kind of a no-brainer here. We could also see a LeBlanc ban and then a Rice pick up here on R4.
Guys, by the way, it is best of 5, not best of 7. We have some guys saying it's best of 7. Best of 5 as always. Chat, behave.
Well, you can prank
I heard
chat.
Someone said
Just don't be
so.
toxic, okay? That's all.
No,
that's when you get
having a great time.
But this is good. This is good. We're having a good one. There's a Rise ban. Oh, they know.
Yeah, the Rumble ban feels like this is very challengers with the amount of Rumble we have seen played, especially by Bay on the side of T1. But absolutely have seen it here. But that does leave Ahri and LeBlanc open. Veigar also a consideration if you do want to go down the scaling route. We have seen some teams like KT, BDD from the LCK just pick it and somehow win their lane anyway. Let's see what Poolbay wants to do here.
It's probably Gnar and Ahri. Very stock standard from DK, but I think in the first game you don't necessarily need to pull out all the stops. Yeah. Cannon has already been banned away. I think also a clear sign to clear as
Gragas.
Oh, okay. I like that a lot. Into a stationary AD carry. The Gragas, I think, has an incredible amount of value. And it also means that if Clear wanted to go for something with a lot of hard engage, the disengage and setup for D+, now going to be a lot stronger. We've been seeing this hovered every now and then, but I think the Jace is kind of the no-brainer here. Good early game into Gnar, works well with the lethality Varus. A lot of poke here for the DRX composition to round it out.
And there you go. We'll see if they can get it done. The amount of burst they have in this comp is pretty disgusting. I think that if you do fall behind, though, you can have some issues. You know, the Jace poke not going to be hitting quite as hard. LeBlanc will struggle to find angles. And yes, you will still have poke, but DK have a lot of ways to get their lanes ahead and use that priority. So I think this early game going to be very important as always. And then maybe we just go into a mid-game where the only thing that matters is execution Chronicler because it is challenging.
And with these two compositions, I'd slightly favor the D+ one. I think that Thanatos has shown that he can match the Jace. He won't have Prio, but top lane Prio I don't think is not the biggest of deals as long as you don't let your enemy laner snowball too much. And then with Gragas Viego and a Lux Caitlyn bot side, you should be able to find a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure here on Satap, because if he can keep Poolbay down and Lucid doesn't find anything early, and they can get control through mid, then maybe they can try and collapse on Rahel and Bible. But when left unchecked, that Lux Caitlyn is a really good early win condition, and I do agree with you. Whichever team pulls ahead early here, I think is a very heavy favorite. Because even for D+, right, like their team fighting is okay, but if you fall behind with a comp like that, it's going to be very tough to play out.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. We saw that Fast Turtle said that it's going to be reliant on Bible's emote game at this point for DK's chances to win. You know, I think they have a little bit more than that in this game. especially because that bot lane can be really rough for the side of DK. But again, it'll all come down to the way it's played, and I'm really curious to see the mid-jungle matchup as well. This 2v2 should be fire. As let's get into game number 1 of the Grand Finals.
Perfect.
Pretty much perfect.
Perfect. And I won't have anyone say anything. Actually, we talked about this yesterday, but I'm like 99% sure that for it to actually be perfectly on time with the sound, we would have to do what feels wrong for us because of the, like, what will it be, like half a second maybe of delay between us talking and the audio going to stream. But that's okay. We don't care. Everyone is doing and then everything is great.
It was mistimed by 0.1 milliseconds. Sorry, casters.
It's perfect, Monka
Sorry.
W. Casters are great. No bad. You can Chat, you know, you can poke fun. You just can't be actually toxic. And if you do, you're in trouble. Pleda, Comet,
we had
great.
We had some rough ones
yesterday
in the DK T1
matchup.
Oh, okay. We're just gonna flash on a Pulbe here, who decides to just walk in the river. He is so dead. Like I can't even, and they're even delaying it. And this is really awesome because guess what? Jungle camp's coming in. You know, Pulbe going to get to the lane a little bit late. He has to TP in here. And already DRX are off to a roaring start.
And I imagine that they were setting up for a late invade there, right? Because the reason why Pulbe walks in there is because the timing is much later than where you'd normally expect people to be there, right? So he was just setting up an early ward to maybe try and catch Lee when Sponge was making his way over. But instead, DRX, possibly through VOD review as well, maybe that's just something that Pulbe does very often, getting a very early kill here. Great start for them, because as mentioned, I think whichever team wins the early to mid game is going to be in a great position in this game. Going to be feeling wonderful, and Pulbe, right from the get-go, going to be down to teleport here.
Yeah. This means that Setap should have a lot of pressure and a lot of priority in mid, which is, you know, one of the things towards the bottom side of the map. This absolutely could affect it. Yes, Varus Leona alone might not have too much fun, but if you have some help from your team and from the mid lane, things could get a little bit different here. As very curious about this top lane matchup as well. Clear versus Thanatos. Clear has the counter pick Jace into the Gnar, but as you were mentioning, Thanatos has shown that he can handle this lane. Not always the easiest issue, as Pulbe going to body slam in, does not get the stun onto Setap, takes a bunch of harass damage, and this is even worse because, as you mentioned, he doesn't have teleport, so playing the melee Gragas, which in general should be able to sustain a lot with his passive and all of his abilities through all that poke.
Oh
it's gonna be more difficult.
God, he's not spotted. Now, I think all Lucid is doing here is covering, right? But we do have Setap will now spot him. But even just covering is enough because, as expected, we talked about this. Bible and Rahel are doing a really good job in the early game, which they should into Piero and Plader. And what we see is that even though Pulbe is fine in terms of health, he's low, but Gragas does have a lot of innate sustain, but his mana is fully gone. So he's basically hard forced into a back here on a suboptimal wave. Will be a cannon wave, so losses should be not too bad, but maybe opportunity for Setap to get some more damage to Thanatos.
Oh, going in there as Cleary takes a turret shot. As Thanatos maybe just calculating that, but might just, nope. Thought maybe he'd take that Shock Blast, and now Clear is out of mana. He did go Biscuits, so might be able to get another Shock Blast here in a little bit, but yeah, he's definitely holding on to that.
Oh no, it's the 14 CS level 2 tier after a first forced back Varus. And despite this, DRX is still up gold because of, again, the early play they found in mid and the fact that top side going great, mid lane going great. But even with that early kill, we do see that the bot lane is struggling. So Sponge finding a killer on top side would be very big, but there is a little low in mana and a Mega Gnar is available for Thanatos here, so I don't think they want to take the risk. As
First blade, 5 minutes.
You do need to deal with this DRX.
Whoa.
Clean cleanse, but cleanse nonetheless.
It looked cool, but
Still
Definitely
bad.
don't want to use that. Yeah, it's clean and also bad.
It's both.
Yeah. And yeah, that's the way that lane is going to go. I mean, Sponge not really farming it out really fast. He was hanging around the bottom side, but there has been no jungle influence really on the bottom side of the map. They have hung around there and kind of shown their faces, but other than that, have not been able to get any ganks off.
It's also remarkable is that even though Sponge was able to get the early red buff, that he isn't really ahead when it comes to jungle clear. Lucid has been able to pull up. Now, of course, Viego's early clear, I think, is quite decent, so makes sense that he will be able. He also got the Scuttle. Topside Scuttle has not yet been taken, and the Vision Control here on bot side is one of the big reasons why Rahel and Bible can play the way that they do. Poolbay now in a much better spot, has his tier, able to actually counter shove. Might be looking towards a dive here with no plans available, but at the very least, like, even if you don't dive, as long as you keep this amount of pressure up, like, Varus is just not going to be in the game.
Yeah. And that's, you know, DRX, they opted into this as well. I mean, they picked Leona, they did not pick the Karma, and here we are. Like, this is the way this lane was always going to go. Even our chatters are very intelligent. They're like, well, what are they going to do in this lane? And now we see what happens. As very cheeky, you can put a trap behind the tower, as we do have a little bit of a gank coming in here. Sponge is here, but so is Lucid. As Sponge goes in, gets the kill, the execute onto Bible, as they did not respect that, and now everybody's got a flash away, and all of a sudden, one gank comes through, and DRX's bottom lane is in an okay spot.
Already big moment here for Sponge. Finally gets the play there, and Bible costing his team quite a lot there. Does get hit by the Leona. Initial flash looks fine, but Sponge with the follow-up. Making sure, as we see Poolbay, just coming back in.
Sure.
Brave Man does have 2 cookies, but still I would
took
recommend.
like 200 damage from the minions.
Yeah. And Poolbay also has TP back again now, so we'll be fine. But no kill going over to Rahel was big. And as we can see here, Bible very far up, fishing for a binding. Well done by Piero, and ideally, you know, maybe you'd be looking to try and flash in front of that Q as Lucid, but then you're also a Viego without flash, might have died himself. So I think that didn't want to take the risk there, which is understandable. Sponge also, I think, a level up there. So nicely done. DRX really taking great control of this early game, and even though Pleta is in the game, their top half doing peachy.
Yeah, and this game now is in a really nice spot for DRX. Your mid lane's winning. Your Lee Sin has a massive lead. He's going to get Gore Drinker so fast in this game, it's not even going to be funny. As, yeah, just putting on a little bit of pressure onto Poolbay. Poolbay, you know, he goes Mercs first. He's eventually going to get tanky, but still, for now, this poke is going to be annoying for him to deal with. Your top lane in a counter matchup. Your bottom lane still down in CS, but got a little bit of pressure relief, you could say,
and
from that gank.
Only 1 plate as well, which isn't really enough to start with. Now, I do want to hold off on any big judgment until we've seen the first skirmish, because that is where I do think that DK has really leveled up their play the most. Their team fighting, right? Their execution, their 5v5, their setup around objectives. But if the first skirmish or 2 goes poorly, I don't see them sticking around in this game for a much longer time. Lucid in position here. They know this is coming, but DRX should know as well. Because normally, Caitlyn doesn't walk up to Lee as
Okay, tons of damage goes into Pleta. He is just burst away, has to cleanse as well as flash in, and Poolbay just accepts his fate. Throws out a cask, but still has flash and just dies in the 1v1 to Saytab. As now more plates going to go the way of DK, who are clawing their way now back into this game. Lucid still here. Really nice binding onto both of them so that Sponge can't get in and help the Leona. That's another kill over to Rahel.
And you can sense the tension for either teams here. A lot of mistakes being made. Understandable when we get to the grand finals. Poolbay there disrespecting straight up Saytab. Can't do that, especially when your Q is down. Yeah, he's just dead, right? Like, has his W active, but it's not enough.
Sticks around
there, thinking that maybe he can go for the body slam, but Saytab not even going to give him the opportunity. Really nice flash there. And Piero conditioned after the previous play. Yeah, this one is... Oh.
because he lines it up.
Yeah.
He backs up and then he gets the lineup onto the lead.
And they would have been probably fine either way, but it means that there's no playmaking opportunity because Sponge is very fed. And if he does get in, you know, maybe he can trade 1-for-1, and then the play feels a lot worse, particularly with mid lane kind of collapsing. But with how Rahel's playing right now, things are still looking a lot better for DRX, but D+ has a shot as long as Rahel doesn't die. If he ever dies, I'm ready to... well, no, not call it. It's challengers.
Yeah, you never know.
You never,
Like, I
you
don't know,
never
man.
call it.
You want to bet your hair on that one?
I take it back. Never call it.
You sure about that?
No. Oh, God. But actually...
Yeah. I mean...
It's not his fault.
So the thing is,
What can you
if
do?
you get binded or bound, I guess, and trapped, you will die. But even if you don't get hit by CC, I mean, you still have insanely long-range poke from both Lux and Caitlyn. It's obviously much more difficult to hit.
Oh, Pulbay. Oh, no.
But you can just throw it in. As Pulbay, if this chain lands, he does have flash. Chain's not going to land. Sponge just in here. And Pulbay's playing like...
He's a maniac.
Yeah, he's like, I want you to gank me. It's almost like he's trying to pull all pressure into his lane by how insanely he is laning right now.
Yeah, and, you know, if you can soak ganks, I think that's great. Obviously, in the 1v1, overstepping his boundaries a little bit there. Setab getting the better hand of him there. But when it comes to drawing jungle attention, Sponge, barring that one play, has not been able to help his bot lane. And something that we talked about a lot, even though Pulba is suffering in the mid lane matchup, as long as Rahel gets as far ahead as he does and Thanatos is able to stay even, which right now, very much the case, plenty of opportunity still for DRX, but for D+. As, oh god, yeah.
The Lux has the support item, by the way. That is the damage. Yeah, it's a rough time. As actually no plates have gone down in Pulbay's lane, but they are about to. A couple of them should go over to DRX with this charge. So putting on some pressure in one of the lanes that is winning for DRX. Definitely a really nice spot for their top lane as the bottom lane continues to just suffer.
Yeah, that was a Rahel ult off screen, which is why Plata is very, very low. And is not having a good time. And this was pre-Guild Force. It's a 40 CS lead in bot. Oh, they're setting up a trap.
Did they really have to?
No, no one's going to fall for it.
I mean, DRX, if they wanted to try to get in here and support this lane, then Lucid would be right there for the counter gank. As Gore Drinker is finished for Sponge.
Why did DRX bench Prince again? We've been paying a lot of attention to the game because it is actually a great game. But keep it up, Chad. You're doing great.
Doing very well. Doing very well.
Perfect. Please stop him getting baited. That's that's on you.
Free Dragon goes over to DRX as the bottom lane of DK backs, and they are not in position to challenge this. So DRX, they pick up an Infernal Drake, which is massive when you have Jace, Lee Sin, LeBlanc, Varus. Tons of damage is going to be added to that. And
I do think that this is a really great example of what made DRX really good last year as well, which was macro trades, right? The identification that D+ bot lane went for a back, and what you actually see happen there is the back from, or the trap rather, from Rahel and Bible backfiring. If they didn't go for that quote-unquote trap, shove out the extra wave, but backed on the same timing as Plata and Piero, Sponge probably can't go for that dragon. But because they set up the trap, DRX make the read, go back, and are able to pick up a Drake as a result. I do think DK should still get first turret blood, but that's okay, but not amazing. And it means that still, neither of these two teams are actually able to decisively pull ahead of the other, as if you can choose between a fed Caitlyn and a fed Lee...
Fed Lee every time.
I mean, I think it's...
It's definitely fed Caitlyn.
Yeah, particularly with the comp that DK have, but with Setup also being fed, we'll see how much playmaking potential there is, as there goes the turret.
I'm glad that both Setab and Clear are going full damage builds. They are like, okay, we are getting the snowball rolling for our team on the top side. We have Sork Boots Ludens here for Setab. We have Eclipse Finish for Clear. And, I mean, Sponge is Lee, so he could have gone Eclipse if this were solo queue, but no, he's not going to do that.
He's a smart player.
So this is Gore Drinker here. And now, finally, Pulbay, he got a Catalyst, so now he's unkillable. because every time he presses
Hey.
his W button,
He has Mercs as well, Valdez?
yeah, but when he had only Mercs, he was killable.
Yeah, he died. I know.
So now, CTAB is taking more damage than he is. As Cask comes in, Chains of Corruption. Just a pity one, I guess. Maybe try to get CTAB away.
Yeah, I think he has to. If he doesn't, and Satap or Pleda gets CC, they might be in deep trouble. As Thanatos, no Mega.
Uh-oh, in a lot of trouble here. One more auto would do it, but the slowdown comes in, and Thanatos hops away. And 3 members of DRX not able to get him down. As Lucid just chasing after everybody who was just running away there.
Man, I love this top lane matchup. As a Sponge? Okay,
That's
well,
okay.
he's okay.
Or Drinker.
But he does have to invest his kick. Does mean that a subsequent Herald or Drake fight. Actually, by that point, I'll have it up. It's 2 minutes away. But not for Herald. Maybe. Maybe.
Well,
Pleda, man. He has his ghost blade. He's like, I'm just trying to dodge.
that's all he needs.
Yeah.
No tier 2 boots yet. That might help a little bit. Not against the Caitlyn ult, though.
God, that'll be
unfortunately.
that's going to be a very late Rod of Ages.
Yep.
Oh,
But he will be unkillable. 16 minutes and 23 seconds as Hero on Leona. This is, I feel like, one of the reasons why you may pick Leona into this comp is because even if you do step on a trap, once you get like 1 or 2 items, you can kind of survive.
Thanatos?
Kind of. It being the key word. Really depends on the situation. As Piero takes a massive amount of damage, and Thanatos and Lucid are actually skirmishing. They have their whole team around the second Rift Herald, which is just the biggest fighting point in every game that we have in Korea.
I think you let this one go, DRX.
Well,
Don't have kick
that's
on
what we
Sponge
think.
yet, but they're not going to because it's challengers. I'm aware. There's also no Mega.
They're gonna give
letting
it away.
go.
They're gonna take mid turret,
Amazing.
which is a lot more valuable than the second
Wait.
Rift Herald. Though they're
There's still
zoning them away,
minions.
and now the damage goes in on a pull bait. Piero goes so deep, he's gonna trade his life for that, but he gets himself a kill over to clear, whereas Rahel will pick up his second.
That's a favorable trade for DRX. Yes, you give up Herald, and it might mean that down the line the trade evens up. But right now, you trade a Flash on Gragas and a Herald, but you get, or rather, they kill Piero, but there's no Flash on Gragas, and you get mid lane turret. I think that's a fine trade. I'm going to be too unhappy about that one. And DRX again with a small win. But this fight was only a precursor to the fight that really matters, which is a fight for this Hextech Drake. Although, maybe it's Camtech Soul, and none of this really matters, because as nice as the individual Drakes are, the Soul really does matter. Because if it's Mountain, DRX in particular need to get them. Like, if the enemy starts stacking Mountains, they don't get split against Lucid.
Oh boy, Polbay is just having a ball here.
Oh, the
or not
counter
Polbay,
poke.
Satab.
Oh my god.
I was looking at the wrong name. Yeah, poke is really there, and this Eclipse and Manamune, at least for the Jace already, is insane. DK really struggling to even put their Herald down. They will put it in the mid lane and try to use this cryo.
Thanatos is going in.
Thanatos is going in.
He's not afraid.
He has a little bit of backup as the Herald doesn't do anything, but it's getting so much value as everybody on the side of DRX on the right side of our screen is just getting caught out. As now Sidtep trying to trade back here, insane amounts of poke as down will go Pulvey again without even getting to use his cask as down goes Bible too. Sidtep just on a monster roll here. There's not much that DK can do to handle it.
Individual outperformance after individual outperformance. First, an amazing play from Thanatos to start up the fight. They take down Piero, but then the mobility use... Yeah, oh, that big. That's amazing. So this starts off very rough for D+, with the health pulse already being low, but then Thanatos identifies a key point of weakness. But Pulbay on this Gragas sets up that play, which is nice, but then Satap, man, this guy deserves all the credit. Still has the vision, lands the chains, then the chains second from Pleda come through, and they get that kill. And then Bible gets spotted here. He should have known.
Yeah, he should have known, but the Chains of Corruption were chains onto Thanatos, so he was running away from Thanatos. Because if he gets chained by the chains, then he dies anyway.
Yeah.
So it kind of looks silly that he's running straight at the LeBlanc. But either you get chained up by Chains of Corruption or you die to LeBlanc. And maybe he should have just gotten chained and tried to give the kill over to, I don't know, Sponge, instead of giving Setab like an assist or something, but I don't know. Setep comes in, gets the kill. And he has the most damage in the game by far. Remember how this game started with Setep just... you don't see this all the time in professional, at least Korean League of Legends, where it's like, okay, like our mid laner is just solo carrying the game.
If they can get a shutdown on Setep, that would be huge. D+ have been setting up a bunch of these traps. And Setep coming fresh out of the base, I'm pretty sure that he wants to try and shove, but he seems to be thinking something is up. But will he be respectful enough?
They flash in, the binding is there, and stopwatch used. He is getting in onto Bible, but just doesn't quite have the damage, and immediately does get shut down by Lucid, who is going to enjoy that big influx of money.
That's very big. Mid-diff here in play, but if you send 3 people, you might still be fine, but this is a heavy investment, and immediately DRX respond on the other half of the map. So even though they are able to pick up the shutdown, gold lead still about 2k here for DRX, but not insurmountable by enemies. This is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted out of game 1.
Yeah.
No team getting completely dunked on.
No. I mean, they kind of were by Setep until they weren't.
Yeah.
And they got the trade back, which is nice.
I mean, even then, it's mostly Poolbay that's getting dunked on, right? Because Rahel still hasn't died, does have his BT, is very far ahead of the curve.
He's just soaking the deaths, you know?
Nice.
So the rest of his team doesn't have to.
That's what I tell myself. Well, that's
Rahel has the shutdown,
when I feed in our flex games, but I don't think that's true.
It's like I'm pulling jungle attention to mid. I'm inting. I'm going in.
I'm inting. I'm inting.
Yeah.
I'm getting ganked. I'm absorbing pressure. Bot lane push.
Again,
and the bot lane matchup is like you're playing like Kaisa Nautilus into Caitlyn Lux and like shove, shove, shove.
Again, not calling out Poolbay, just making jokes about our solo queue. To be completely.
I would never call out any individual player in challengers.
I think he's going to be fine. Like obviously his build is very delayed. He made like a silly play at level 1. He got very far behind, so he's not really in a good spot, right? But basically what they need him for is to be a cast bot to set up the Caitlyn later on in the game. So and just to actually absorb damage, and so he'll be able to do his job even if he is not currently the one carrying.
And that's the key thing. As long as DRX doesn't stack mountains, chat's amazing. As long as DRX doesn't stack mountains, D+ have such a good team fight that with one Thanatos ult, they can win. If Thanatos is dead, they cannot contest for this Drake, and oh boy, seems to be not wanting to take a risk. Lucid is in the general vicinity. Thanatos has flash as well, but I do think that flash extremely valuable, because if he can find Setep, I don't think you're ever going to get, but if he can find Clear and or Pleda in a team fight, that's big. Like, Pleda is very far behind, but still, 2 lethality items, nothing to slouch at. Clear has a bounty and a 40 CS lead on his head. So if Thanatos can get on top of him in a team fight, still opportunities here for D+, but DRX with the poke being as big as it is, good luck to D+. If they don't get a pick here, I think that fighting for this Drake can be very, very tough.
Are they threatening Baron?
They would. It's DK, yeah. I don't think their Baron is particularly amazing.
I feel like it's fast
but I can see
enough.
them do it. Oh, yeah, there we go. Aggressive guild force. Yeah, they are. Yeah.
It's fast enough to the point where if they see DRX go for the dragon at any point, they could probably take it down.
Yeah, they do have vision though, so as long as that's not cleared, DRX isn't really bothered.
DRX chilling for now. They're just going to K-Ram here in mid and try to lay down the poke, as here we go. They are going to show immediately on vision, as in goes DK to clear that right away. So DRX, they can't exactly run at the Mountain Drake, otherwise this Baron will get run down. So DK using their vision lead very nicely.
Starting it up. Look at Thanatos. This is Mega.
That as well, as Mega about to be hit here.
I think they want to fight. I don't think they want to flip against the lead. It's a really big risk.
Well, they do spot him coming over to the top side here. As Lucid, you know, he's out of the pit. They are not going to kill this Baron. They're not going to get it even close to in range. So DK back away. And now your Baron pressure is gone. So there's potential for DRX to set up vision, to maybe even take the dragon.
Yeah, big Hail Mary, trying to force a mistake. But they're also still going for this, right? So they're not giving opportunity to DRX.
Well, you're going for it, but you're now DRX in a position to poke you down.
Yeah, that's Soul Point. I think. I don't see how you can contest this as D+. D+. Swing and a miss here. And DRX, very level-headed under the pressure that D+ is trying to put on them.
Look at the mid lane. I mean, the entire time DK are just forfeiting mid. They're forfeiting any pressure around the mid and Dragon side of the map. So they go for the Baron a couple of times, attempting DRX to essentially run at them. DRX, you know, catch their bluff, and they say, we're not going to run at you. We're just going to poke you, be very level-headed. They get mid prio, they get a mid tier 2, and now Bible's dead. Down he goes, Tab on the run. Don't know if they're going to be able to catch him.
Should be able to. It's more about what can they get. They get Drake. Who's going to get the shutdown?
Oh, okay. Almost got
BT.
through his Bloodthirster shield
BT
there.
overheal. No biggie. And that's another big kill going over to Rahel, but what I really love here from DRX, and it's something that I really valued them for last year as well, and why I spoke so highly of them, is that they are so calm and they're so collected, right? They're able to actually get the cross-map trade. Do need to respond ASAP because their most fat members is dead.
And was out of the bush. Fleta saw him. Change the corruption in. That's a ton of poke damage onto Thanatos, and no longer poke when Sponge puts his foot on you as Pulbe goes in for the play, but now he gets Rahel in a bad position as Clear just jumps onto that back line, and this is a wash. DRX going to clean them up at the Baron.
And that is going to be, I think, the deciding fight here. DK, they keep looking for mistakes, keep looking for a trip up, but DRX show none, and even with Setup dead, Clear is monstrously fed.
Clear played so well today.
Clear is playing incredibly well, but I also want to give a shout out to Pleta, who has had such a thankless job here.
Can we skip this part?
Yeah, this is rough. Pulbe, the Gragas coming out of seemingly nowhere, and I don't think we're going to see it back here. Not working out very well. Really, really unfortunate game here from the D+ mid laner, but most notably, DRX have been so good in their response, right? Like, while DK is setting them up, they get a mid lane inner, they get a bot lane inner, and Clear is still in time to then back and make it and win the fight around the Baron. And now, gold leads are, I think, insurmountable. Rahel, yeah, he's, you know, still ahead, but I don't think he's going to really play the game against the amount of poke that DRX have.
We talked about how DK, you know, they had a great way to get a snowball rolling, and if they did, they should be in a good spot. But the game was mostly in DRX's favor in the early game, other than the bottom lane, of course. And unfortunately, DK from the early into mid-game, they were not able to keep that snowball rolling from their bottom lane. The Caitlyn and Lux did a nice amount of poke in mid lane, and, you know, they poked Fleta out a couple of times. But other than that, they've kind of just been hanging out. It's not really their fault. It's just DRX with their poke composition have been able to essentially wrestle away the map as in they go onto Clear, taking a ton of damage. They turn it around though. This cast is going to be good as it does get the kill onto Clear, and Pulbe will get the shutdown.
Oh, that's something. Not enough, but at the very least they're able to actually execute on the play. Lucid going in big. But it's just a kill on Clear. You're not going to get an objective out of this. Not going to get anything else done. And at least it will delay what seems like the inevitable right now. And we'll see Lucid. Very nice setup. We see the long-range engage power that comes through here, but also, yeah, there's more than enough damage available here for DRX with their composition. The one issue they might have had is if they didn't get anyone ahead. But both their solo laners are very, very fed.
Lunel got clapped by Nightbot instantly.
Now she finally knows how it feels.
Yeah, Nightbot doesn't pull any punches. They will take anyone down.
I've seen bigger leads thrown. That's a challenger watcher, right there.
There's a challenger watcher. He knows because yes, DRX is in a. If this is LCK, this is unlosable.
They should.
Okay?
DRX should 100.
Soul,
and
you move in, you take the win, right?
And even in challengers, I'm pretty sure this is like 90% guaranteed okay for DRX, right? We can give our team some faith. We're in the finals, but yeah, Yeah, I think
Oh,
we
you
can.
know, we got 3.5 items here for Rahel already. He's looking for that Infinity Edge 4th.
You know what? Maybe DRX over-index on a dive, like kill Pool
Yeah.
Bay, who's like, I don't
If they
care.
keep giving time to Rahel and Lucid can find more picks like that.
But Mountain.
But Mountain Soul, yes.
That's the big one.
And it
So
will have
Lucid,
to be LDR 5th, I guess.
yeah, because he's going.
Which is going to take quite a
I-
while. But we're 30 minutes into the game. Like, we've gone a long time here. DRX, yes, they do have a big lead, and I'm not trying to say that DK are going to come back from this, but I'm just
like
saying
it.
there's a chance.
I like the hedging.
There's a chance.
It's
You know,
important to hedge.
I learned yesterday from Fast Turtle 23 about the possibilities. And, you know, it's good to keep a level head here, especially in challengers, as we do have this Mountain Soul.
Very low vision. Yeah, look,
And,
they're going to get poked down.
That's Gragas, by the way.
Crown
Crown here for
propped.
Bible, but what are you going to do?
PT shield gone. Like, and DRX like, yeah, we're not gonna do anything. We don't need to do anything. We just wait. Yeah, we win this stalemate very hard, and they do.
Sit here, poke him down. Oh, Setab actually got knocked up by the dragon. That was unfortunate. He has to hop back, takes a little bit of damage. Full bait. Okay, they go in. They do catch one member, but it's Leona. That's not the guy. As in goes Sponge onto 4 people. They take down Thanatos. And now it's just a 5v4, and Setab is just holding the backline. Rahel doesn't even get to play the game, as he will get highlighted here by Setab, does get flanked, and now the TP will come into the mid lane. Sponge and the rest of the team just trying to stop the backs here. Sponge so tanky at this point in time, as Pleta gonna be getting the kill here onto Lucid, and this game is over. DRX will take it down in 32 minutes, not giving any more time for the Caitlyn to scale up, and down this will go. 1-0 the lead for DRX.
And I'm pretty sure that D+ is going to head towards the red side here. Not even necessarily because they might prefer it, but because DRX with red side, that's another win in the red side column for them. And I gotta give credit mostly because what we saw there in the end is something that so many challengers teams struggle with so much, which is just don't lose the game. Right? DRX is like, we have a almost insurmountable lead. We have a poke comp, and as long as we don't hard engage onto them and poke them down, we always win. And how many times have we said that and then seen the team, like the Leona is like, guys, I got this, and goes in and doesn't find anything. But not DRX. Really, really clean game number 1 here, and D+, off to a bad start. I think individually, obviously, Pool Bay having a really tough time here on the Gragas, but it really did feel to me like DRX, very well prepped, very, very well equipped to deal with the skirmishing that DK tried to throw at them.
Yeah, and I love how people react so early. Remember, it is a best of 5. Yes, a very poignant point by one of our chatters here. And it is. I think Pool Bay, he got a bit tilted. He ran into the river at level 1. He got
it's
killed.
one game,
Holds
guys.
on to his
Calm
flash.
down.
He has to teleport at level 1. It's a rough time, right? There's not much you can say about that situation. I think any player would have trouble there. So Setab, he takes that lead and he runs with it. The top lane, the top side of the map for DRX is insane, and they're able to continue with some of the leads they had in that early game and get it done, as this is one of the fastest POGs we have seen come out here because it is very obvious. Setab will pick up the POG for game 1.
Yep, understandably, dunked on his lane opponents. Yeah, he got caught like once or twice, but who cares? Made the big plays in the mid game, and very deserved here.
Unanimous vote. Thank you, Yundo.
Yeah, Yundo also letting me know already, so this is a little bit of a sneak peek, that D+ did go for red side, which makes complete sense given what we've seen. Unanimous Pog here for the mid laner, and you know, I think the laning phase was as much Pool Bay as it was Setab, but actually making use of the LeBlanc and how fat he got in mid game is why he picked up this POG. Really not giving any opportunity to D+ to get back into the game.
Yeah. Very fun first game. I think that DRX take a massive lead into the favorite position after this win. They pick the red side, they dominate them in game 1, and it's pretty clear cut from, I'd say, minute 12 on, you know, maybe a little bit later. So, Yeah, it is what it is. And I can see you, Richie, in the chat. That's fine. If you
Yeah.
prefer the hype chat, if
Hey.
you prefer the hype casters, that's
So
fine. I understand. We have a very different style
It's
to the Korean
perfectly
cast.
normal. Yeah, to want that.
You take what you want to, you
Yeah.
get what you want to
Maybe,
get, you know?
maybe don't, don't tell everyone. That's the weird part. Don't do
It's
that.
okay. You can do what you want. Guys,
Korean
we do
casts are
have a
great.
break. We do have a break. We have to go to a break here. We'll be back for game number 2.
파랑팀의 억제기가 파괴되었습니다. 파랑팀의 포탑이 파괴되었습니다. 파랑팀의 포탑이 파괴되었습니다.
Hello and welcome back to Challenger League Grand Finals. You are in the right place if you were looking for DRX versus DK in the Challenger League. And this is getting interesting. DRX did take game number 1. It was pretty one-sided after about 15 minutes into the game. And Setab really popped off, got the unanimous POG votes. And now DK have side selection. You were saying maybe they'll go for the red side because they don't want DRX to have red side. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm getting distracted by chat. I'm being called a weirdo, which I am. So, power to you. I personally find it weird when you come into a chat and try and get everyone to go somewhere else when people are having a great time. But hey, that's just me. I do think
You
it's important to
weirdo.
remember. I am a weird. I am a weirdo, though. And that's okay. Have you guys never watched any Disney movie? Just be yourself. It's not that complicated. What I do want to highlight, though, is that if you think that you know who wins this series, you gotta calm down. If you think after second game, also calm down because that's what happened to DRX.
That's what they want you to think.
Repeatedly. No, Valdez. I'm gonna be honest. Until the Nexus falls in game number 3, I'm not believing in anyone. Okay, I need to actually see it happen. Which,
DK
to be
selected
fair,
red side.
great choice. Definitely should do that. Because I do really believe that with how much variety in individual form we see for challengers and how big of an impact drafts can make in early game, you don't know who's going to win until the very end.
Pretty difficult to figure it out. We saw that mistakes can be made in these challenger finals. We can have Pulbay walk into the river at level 1 and have 4 people there. That's not even a normal thing to have like 4 people there waiting for someone to ward and using your Leona, right? So pretty cool stuff. As this guy was studying and he had a class, and then he took a KTX train all the way to Seoul to watch these finals in real life.
Why do you look like a Texas businessman?
I don't know.
Love that.
I'm definitely not from Texas, although we do have
Are you sure?
one Texan in the chat.
We actually do, yeah.
Yeah, at
Shout
least
out.
one. There's also Astro Nautilus TX. I wonder if he's here today.
Yeah.
He's also from Texas. And it Lunel. True.
It Lunel.
It Lunel.
You know, I watched a really great show recently on Texan Food with Gordon Ramsay. It was very entertaining. He caught a rattlesnake.
Did they eat it?
Yeah. But he also
That's
caught it
bad.
himself, which was crazy. Really interesting to see. Really gave me a new look. I really, you know, and I don't know a lot about Texas. I thought it was just desert, but apparently it's not.
It's definitely not
Yeah,
just
well,
desert.
no, I know, but that's what it was in my head. Okay,
All
I know
right, cool.
it's very big, and it was very silly of me, but that's why I'm sharing it to entertain all of you.
There you go. Scion banned. So
Still.
no Scion in this game. It's just not allowed. Rattlesnake is not a typical part of a Texan diet. Thank you, Lunel.
Well, no, I don't.
I was assuming
I
it
wouldn't-
was after
I
what
wouldn't-
Chronicler said.
Stop throwing me under the bus, Valdez.
Caitlyn banned. They're like, well, we don't want that to happen again. Which is interesting because they found a way to win it. Obviously not the lane, but just the game. Zaya also taken off the table, so no Rakan. I mean, you can still pick Rakan, which is pretty interesting. The Zaya ban. I would figure if you want to ban out that combo, maybe just ban Rakan. As we do have
Ooh.
Sejuani left up.
The Sedge to come through here. Very early prio pick. Has also been spotted being played in other rules, but that's not what I expect to see here as D+. Zeri Wukong, probably. Maybe Zeri Vi if you want to deny the Vi. That's the main thing, right? Because Vi really good into Zeri, provides the guaranteed lockdown that otherwise you will be locking. And even though it's expected to be Sejuani jungle, there is still flex potential, so I do think the Vi makes a ton of sense.
All right. Zeri Lulu. It might not be Lulu because it will be Aphelios Thresh. If this were KT, maybe they just pick Blitzcrank. But instead, we're just going to have Zeri alone with Malphite, who is the choice here for DK, for Thanatos.
So it looks like what D+ is doing instead of giving counter pick over to Poolbay is picking Malphite and banning away some of the counters. Expect Gwen, maybe Kennen as well. And probably then going to give over the counter pick to specifically Poolbay. And Poolbay had a really rough game in the previous, in game number 1. So I think that giving him counter pick is probably a great way to kind of give him some extra confidence, make sure that he can get back into the series. Actually, Silas is a really good ban and much more high priority for obvious reasons. And it's probably just going to be Lulu here, which isn't very interesting. But it gets the job done. Leona, a lot stronger with Malphite and with the Vi. Not going to provide as much peel for Thanatos, but it basically means the composition kind of, or Pharrell rather, it means that the composition shifts to full-on dive, and Zeri's just kind of along for the ride.
Yeah, Zeri's very good at diving as well because she can ride
True,
on the wall,
yeah.
right? So if everybody goes in, she can just get over the wall and ult everybody, and that actually does a decent amount of damage to
It
everybody
works
as
well.
well. You get some bouncy autos in, and
Hell
all of a
yeah.
sudden, everybody gets wombo comboed in a
autos?
way.
Fancy autos.
Bottos?
Yeah.
Sure.
I feel like
Veigar.
could have been more enthusiastic. I thought it was
I
great.
like that. Veigar definitely very good into dive. The only issue is that Solar Flare is ranged and also Malphite is unstoppable, so as is Vi. So there are a couple of things, actually a bunch of things, in the engage of DK that can't really be blocked by a cage.
Oh,
Wow.
yes, Clear. Get him. Love that for obvious reasons.
Get it? We're cooking!
It is obviously really good into Malphite specifically because you completely boom tanks. But it also means that if Claire can get an angle and get rid of Rahel, even if he just stalls, like without Rahel, D+ is not winning any league and team fights. Not happening, right? Like they need the Zeri. The Zeri is the core point of this composition. The rest is just setup. They have a really good dive. I love the composition from DK, let me be clear. But looking into DRX with Veigar, Thresh, Aphelios, and Mord, if D+ rather is not playing a lot cleaner than they were in game number 1, DRX might be looking at a 2-0 here.
Very interesting stuff. Why not Lulu? Can't really understand. Well, they wanted to go higher indexed on the hard engage, basically. A little bit less so for the hard carry Zeri angle.
Yeah.
Zeri can still do Zeri things, a little bit less so without a Lulu, but yeah, essentially you want another button to click on to the backline, the juicy underbelly of the DRX composition, which is essentially Aphelios and Veigar if you can catch him. So yeah, just over-indexing into that, as Lysandra also picked here for Pull Bay. Their comp is a very clear, synergistic kind of theme here, Chronicler.
Yeah, and I do still think that if D+ do get ahead, and a lot of this will come down to the mid-jungle duo, Pull Bay last game had a really rough one. If they can snowball, like, the game's also over, because DRX just get perma-dove and don't get to play the game at all. But it's up to D+ to make it happen here in the early game. If they don't get either Rahel ahead or snowball Pull Bay, I think they're going to be in a really, really tough spot. Once you get to a certain item threshold without an advantage, the D+ composition really going to struggle here. So they need to play better than they did in game number 1.
Absolutely. They need to step up to the plate here in game 2, as Bible's Leona is different. I agree. Let's jump on to the Rift for game number 2 of the Grand Finals. So you did 4 the first game, and I did 3, and then now I did 4 to match you, but you did 3.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Don't ask me. I do it on feeling.
The amount of do. Oh man, always.
It's always tough. I'm sorry. I don't want to feel like you.
Always a topic of discussion.
I'm letting you down, Veldas. I'll try to be more consistent with my do's.
Well, we have double unsealed spellbook here, so double smite in this game. Always something to look for as the game comes along. First time Mordekaiser for clear. I don't think that bothers him one bit.
I think he did play it last year. That's just from the top of my head, because it feels like one of those things that I've seen DRX specifically pull out last year as well. And I think it's great, right? We get the Gwen and the Sylas ban, but you can't really ban any form of anti-Malphite tech, which is one of the reasons why the pick often doesn't get blinded. D+ take a big risk with that one, and we'll see how it ends up working out here. He is 3-0, Thanatos on Malphite. And also he's playing Malphite into Veigar and Aphelios, neither of which, even with Fresh, have like a great way of dealing with it.
Yeah, not really. I mean, you have to play it so safe, and Pleta does take cleanse here. His flash cooldown is going to be massive in this game just because you need to be able to flash Malphite ultimate, essentially. But there are a couple of things that you can't really flash away from, like if Leona tethers onto you, or if Vi presses R onto you, stuff like that. So there's certainly a lot of ways outside of even just the Malphite to get your engages going. It's clear, obviously, he's going to be looking to ult somebody who's looking to engage. Probably a Malphite should be fine. Maybe he can take out Bible in some of the later fights. There were some chatters that were mentioning, well, this works until they get QSS, and then basically you don't care about the Mordekaiser ultimate, but at least they have that, right? I think that's part of the reason why you picked the Mordekaiser. He does have that nice play, as we do have a gank set up here, but there is a ward. Sponge, level 3, cleared his top side. And now here he comes for the gank as Rahel goes in, and Bible's going in as Sponge is wrapping around, so Bible is just dead. Not even going to flash, and that is first blood given over to Pleta on the Aphelios.
Yeah, I think the call there was that they're not getting out no matter what, so it's better for Bible to keep them busy. I don't know if that's true, though. I feel like with Flash still available and Lucid in the general vicinity, there might have been an opportunity there, but not the call made there by D+. We'll still have the flashes available, but giving over an early kill to a call of Aphelios. DRX are feeling peachy here.
All right, take another look at this. I want to see exactly when Bible sees him. So, right now.
Yeah, so he does know.
I don't know. I don't know if he knows, actually. It's pretty close.
Oh.
Like, he should have, he has the information, but like, was he looking right at that part of his map at that exact time as he's looking for the engage? Maybe he's too focused on
could be
linking up onto Pleta. But after he goes in, of course, it's like, well, I'm just dead, so just leave me. But that's a lot of gold into the Aphelios, which obviously it's good, but at the same time, DK's composition is designed to kill Aphelios very effectively, so maybe it won't matter. We'll have to wait and see.
Do have great vision set up here for D+ on the bottom half of the map. But Ryle and Bible now gonna have to play it very, very safe. And again, Cole Aphelios already going to be substantially up, unless Rahel picks up a Cole himself. And that's not really gonna get better with the early lead that Plata was able to back up to pick. If he can also go back, start accelerating the item lead, keep them on the back foot will be very, very large. They do know Sponge is at the very least around here. Will not get spotted, so they'll know for certain. Big wave to come through here, but with Satep TPing to mid and Veigar and generally being, well, Veigar. Diving bot lane, not an option. So instead, DRX making the great call here to go for Dragon.
Yeah, should be free. And there's not really much that DK can do about this unless Bible wants to do Bible things. Which generally he does. I mean,
Hoba hit 6 off of that last minion.
Clear's also coming down though. Like they are going into this engage. They might be able to take up Hero, and that they do, but the 4-man root comes in from the Aphelios. That's another kill onto Pleta, and the Dragon is denied. Clear here, but he's killing a ward.
It's a free versus free. Yeah, this is still going to be a Drake going over, but I'd still think that this is a win for D+, because while you do lose the Drake, you get a kill on your Zeri, who is now very much back into the game, and this also provides some much-needed breathing room for Thanatos, and it's pullback being 6 here, which I think is the big difference maker. The hard negates to come through here, and if Plata doesn't find a multi-man, really nicely done there, grabbing him there, I think the skirmish goes way worse, but he uses his blue gun, and then gets the AoE root, which means that he stays alive for a little bit longer. Clear also, great roam, but that will be Thanatos now stabilizing the early game a little bit. Not that the matchup gets much better, but means that he, at the very least, will be even in CS and even in experience.
Yeah, needs some gold to build up some tanky items so he can do what Malphite does best, and that is to be a rock. That's all I got. Yeah, just get very tanky and try not to die. And he's got the wave in a very nice spot, actually, but this is Mordekaiser, so
it's also
pretty difficult to kill him.
Yeah, that's the real problem. Like, oh, nice wave setup, Thanatos. Really opens up the opportunity for ganks. Haha. It doesn't. Because it's Mordekaiser, and if I comes in, even with the CC chain, not 100% certain, and if Mord starts killing people early on, he turns into a true juggernaut. Really the most juggernaut out of all of them, I'd say. You know, between like Darius and Garen. Mord, when he gets fed, to me, is the worst. To like stare down, and players like, no, that is my ward. Big.
Huge.
Oh, painful. Painful for Thanatos here, who just got back as well.
And they saw where Lucid was as well. They know he's on the top side of the map, or he was. He is sprinting down to the bottom side of the map as I speak. And he is going to catch Sponge here. He's up a level 2 and he's Vi, so there's no real way that Sponge can actually challenge this. And we'll just have to settle for giving up that Red Scuttler and potential control on the bottom side of the map. As I say that, DK trying to use that control to push into the jungle.
And what we do see is that Plata and Piero immediately back off, and this is something they need to do. You need to use this Lissandra offensively. Saw them already do that for the first Dragon fight, but they didn't actually get the Dragon. Now, a lot of the super relevant souls already taken out of the equation here. I'm hoping for Hextech, my personal favorite Rift, to come through, and also means that we will get guaranteed fights as a full rotation here. I don't love this. When you're playing it either Zeri or Aphelios, I don't think this really is going to be something you get away with at all.
And Rahel has gotten away with this so many times. He's not the only AD carry in Challengers either.
Yeah,
unfortunately, we see this more than we'd like, Chronicler. You were giving 2 free plates, full plates
for now
to Zeri.
Well, they might get... So this is big. We do need to see a response for D+ towards top. Because otherwise, Thanatos is going to die, and they're going to set sick Aphelios with Crescendum, as we see now, on his turret, and it's going to be a disaster. And they seem to have realized now, so as well, Pube doesn't have his flash available, or his teleport rather. Bible's coming over, but...
Yeah, Thanatos in a lot of trouble here, gets ulted down, not even going to use anything. No ult, no flash, just accepts his fate. And DRX, with the Rift Herald, should be able to get first turret blood, you'd imagine. And yes, Rahel gets it all for himself, but DRX is going to get that bonus gold. And they do get this first turret blood. So very nicely played, at least from DRX, to push with the decision they made.
And I do think that there was an opportunity there for DK if they read the play earlier. But they did not, and now as a result, there was still a sizable trade-up here for DRX. They did use Herald, but that's completely fine. They get a kill, and more importantly, they still get a lot of gold onto Plata here. While the downside of this is that Thanatos now is kind of freed from his lane, which is kind of nice. We'll be able to farm up here because even Malphite needs at the very least an item. But more importantly, it means that the shield bow is available here for Rahel. And I think that this is the fight where DK really need to make their mark if they want to maintain a shot in this game. Because if not, if DRX like win this fight and get this Drake, boy, you better be looking for a reverse sweep angle, because then the game will get very hard to play out.
Yeah, certainly.
Not impossible, though, because it is challengers,
You never
everyone.
know. You never know.
Just press R on everyone on DRX, and like, you'll probably kill them. Yeah, like Pled or Satap.
Well, I was just saying he should hit that ward instead of walking by it.
Ideally, yeah.
Yeah, Thanatos doesn't have TP, and Pulbe currently is holding an Ignite with his unsealed spellbook, so it's not like TP flank was going to come in, but still, might as well take out the ward.
This is the fight. This is the one you need to win. Also, keep track who does clear ult here.
Yeah, that's going to be very important. Nobody's got a QSS at this point, obviously, so going to be looking for this as they try to go all in onto Bible. He's in a lot of trouble and nearly gets 100 to 0, and he will barely survive, but essentially a 5v4 now in favor of DRX as they get in onto Fulbe, who doesn't want to ult. Thanatos has to ult the front line as Rahel, desperate to do damage as he's been put in the death chamber. Clear, not able to take him down as Rahel gets the first kill in the death chamber, and now the Zeri has her moment, picks up a double kill. Nobody else dies on the team of DK, and they will pick up this Mountain Drake.
Oh, and DK, that was close, but they get the win that they need. Able to pick up the dragon. Hextech Rift as well comes in, and Rahel popping off early here. And it's the target selection from DRX being a little bit all over the place there as the fight starts off. They throw a decent amount of damage into Bible here, but it's just a Sejuani that's big, right? So Rahel, or Bible crucially does get his ultimate off, which means that he's able to actually get out by the end of it. And then once Pulbe gets engaged in here, everything looks pretty dire, but Thanatos this early on has a lot of damage, keeps Clear, Pierre, and Seta busy for a little bit, and then Clear ults Zeri, which at this point, if you're already lost most of your health bar, you're actually not going to win. You can't underestimate the damage this AD carry has in the early game, particularly again with shield bow.
Yeah. Definitely not the target. I understand trying to take out the Zeri, but the other issue is that Pleto was very out of position, right? He was trying to get an ult in, and you know, he thought that would be enough damage, but his team overcommitted with him not in the fight. You know, say what you will about whose mistake or whose fault it is, doesn't really matter. What matters is that they did not have an Aphelios actually dealing damage in that fight, and meanwhile, Rahel, even though he's not dealing AoE damage, he's killing Mordekaiser for free. So now Rahel is 3-0, and
it's
he had
bad.
5 solo plates in the bottom lane on top of a turret. So he's going to have 2 items here before 15 minutes in this game.
Big moment here for D+. They needed to win that fight. They did so very, very decisively. Oh, Pulbe. He has barrier, but that's not enough.
Pulbe. And they might just be able to 100 to 0. The cage misses, so never mind.
I guess it is
pretty
enough.
Close, as Rahel is just laughing at Plena now. Gets another solo plate.
Hey, and do remember, everyone in chat,
Yep.
you can be critical, but you can't flame people. If you flame people, you're going to get timed out, or you're going to get banned, okay? Very easy line. Can be like, oh, that wasn't a good play? Okay.
Yeah.
God, this player is trash. You're gone. Just reiterating.
I mean, you know, sometimes it's very obvious when players make mistakes, and it happens to the best of us.
And that's fine. And you can be like, oh, that was bad.
Nice.
Just don't. Yeah, you can flame people in chat that say that they want to be flamed.
Rahel
That's fine.
got a pentakill every split in the last 2 years. Yeah.
Just gotta say psych after you flame. Yeah, but do it in the same message, otherwise you might get banned before you get the chance to say psych.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Rahel is ginormous.
He's really big. Yeah. And with how big Rahel is, I don't even know if Clear, even with Riftmaker, like, I don't think you can ult Zeri now. I don't think that works.
No, you can't.
He's the same level.
Rahel doesn't have to build a QSS because
No,
he knows that
he's
he will
like,
just kill
"Oh, yeah,
Clear.
yeah. Help me. Come on. Do it.
I dare you. Yeah. You're allowed to flame Chronicler, but you can't because
True.
he's never done anything flame-worthy.
That's
because
not true.
He's actually perfect.
You can definitely flame. That's okay. I will not bang you for
Ult
that.
me, I dare you, Giga Chad. Pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
that's where we're at in this game. So
Oh.
DK in a good position. Now again, it's only 1,000 gold.
Yeah,
I believe.
they haven't
So
won
DRX
by
have
any means.
a lot of money on some of their other champions, but the Zeri is a big problem. The cage is huge, as this time he's going to ult them out by probably a better idea. As now Rahel trying to get in there, trying to deal that damage onto Sponge. He flashes forward, and Lucian and Rahel are just two-manning the entirety of DRX here, as once again the fight is so heavily in favor of DK. Rahel has 5 kills and is looking for a kill now onto Clear. As he might even, nope, not going to commit underneath that, doesn't need to take the chance.
I'm just glad that you were paying attention to what happened in the rest of the fight, because I was looking at the double stasis action. That would have tilted you off the face of the planet, Valdez. Poolbay going in and then having both his ultimate and his stasis available, so even the Meteor from Satab not getting anything done. Enough damage being done here from the get-go, and yeah, Thanatos is also a level up, right? Fear just hasn't really been able to make the impact, and look at this from Poolbay. First he self-ults, that's fine, but then he doesn't die afterwards either. And yeah, Satab has a defensive stopwatch there, but that doesn't really matter at that point. And they didn't do the Valdez check. They didn't press tab. Poolbay coming up huger on one of his most comfortable picks, and with a little bit of space bot, Lucid and Rahel say, hey, this is free.
Yeah. I mean, it's real rough
Now
for DRX this time around.
Yeah, I don't think...
After game 1, I was like, oh yeah, DRX looking good. Game 2 rolls around, and now Rahel has 5 kills on Zeri.
Maybe it's the 100% red side win angle tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this game might go by pretty quickly, as now... Yeah, Pleda's dead. He does not have flash. He is going to ult with his Severum, so that works out. I guess he gets some health. He survives for a while.
No.
Yeah, no, it's just not enough at this point in time. Very nice timing on the dive here from Lucid. And that should be a Hextech Drake going over to DK for free, as DRX don't have an 80 carry this time.
Yeah, bounties are up. We're giving over Hextech Drakes to Zeri. Good luck with this from DRX, because finding the angles is so hard, because what would win you this game normally is Satab and or Plata popping off in a fight, right? And Aphelios really is the type of champion when there is engage, he loves it. He wants to play into short-range comps. But when there is enough hard engage, you kind of reach a critical point where, like, he has one flash, which he probably needs to use for Malphite ult. But then there was also Lissandra.
Clear ulted Thanatos in the last fight, so technically he didn't have to in the last fight. And so like that's the counter angle.
Yeah.
But yeah, the point still stands.
It just means that for Satab or Plata to carry, it's still really, really hard. And if the D+ comp is behind, or it's a bad soul, then you have a lot of angles. But it's the opposite. It's ult Lucid.
Ult comes in this time onto Lucid, and that seems like a target that Clear could kill, but not if...
in the jungle.
Yeah. Now if he gets over the wall, and now Clear is okay. He's got a cage, and they're going very deep for this one. Will it work out? The damage not there without their Zeri. Finally, Rahel makes it in, and the second that Rahel joins, the fight goes heavily into DK's favor. As tons of damage onto that front line, though.
Oh, they know.
Rahel 1v4ing. And yes, they catch Bible there on the side, and they say, well, we're just not going to force this, and another kill goes over to Zeri.
And coming into today's series, we were talking a little bit about Rahel and how him becoming better added another layer to like the threat of D+. Because in the regular split, it was mostly topside wins or they're screwed, right? Like topside didn't win hard enough, Lucid has a bad day, team doesn't look good, but right now, all Poolbay, Thanatos, and Lucid need to do is create space. Right? Like, Poolbay is going forward for these continuous, like, very aggressive... Look at this! He's flashing into, like, 3 people.
Yeah.
Because all he needs to do is make sure that Rahel can get, like, 4 more Qs off. And, I don't know what happened to Rahel to make him have this glow-up, going from... I'd say, like, one of the weakest, if not the weakest, playoff AD carry. Like, going back, right? Like, obviously discounting round 1, but...
Yeah.
Going upwards from there, because Hype, you would say, is much better. Smash, you would say, is much better. Yeah, this was a timed out, so Sponge had to just throw it down. Yeah.
Can't catch up.
Right, so he was the worst, right? Plata was better, Hype was better, Smash was better, and now Rahel's looking incredible.
Rahel has had a lot of big games on Zeri. I think that especially Challenger League games are more, they have a higher propensity to just have these Zeri moments where all of a sudden Zeri gets a couple of kills and then these teams don't have the coordination to quite lock her down. So I think that's part of it, but he also did get POG for his Jin game.
Yeah.
So
the Scalen was really good as well in the previous game, even though they obviously didn't win.
I think it's very important to point that out because now, as long as DK don't do what they did in game 1 and kind of get tilted and snowballed on from a little bit early on in the game, you're probably going to be in a good spot in this series. Although I say that, you know, maybe DRX just turn it on for game 3. As DRX, they are trying to set something up on the top side here onto Poolbay, who does not have Flash, who is not going to get caught.
If DK 3-0 this from here on out and they win 3-1, it's actually just to avoid the reverse sweep. That's what's happening.
True.
That's actually the reason. It must be. What's the average age for CL players? It's like somewhere between like 15, 16 are the youngest players, so like 20 usually, 19, 20.
Yeah.
And then you have Bible, who's like older, but that's because he's already done military service. So in terms of pro career, he's still very young.
Yeah. On this team, I think, actually I can see the dates here. D+ is slightly younger. Like they have more like 2005, 2004 players, alongside of Bible, which you mentioned is much older than everybody else. But their average, pretty low. Lucid, the youngest, I believe.
Would make sense. Yeah, they're all quite young. They came up together as well. Say tap.
Well, at least he has barrier. Well, now he's just going to die to Rahel. As ult is thrown in, does about 10% damage, which is more than I expected onto the full health Rahel. Might as well throw it out because you'll get it back for the next fight after you respawn. So that should be Baron here. Nice little catch onto the side lane as this game is not very close. DRX, will you find an angle? Will you find an answer to Rahel?
Well, they'll probably get a Drake here. So. That's nice.
I missed the last 25 minutes. How did DK get this round?
Well, red side.
Well, I guess we got to ban this guy. BGD should be a pretty easy ban.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Even I banned that guy.
Yeah.
Bye.
Sorry, sad, better. Just so unfortunate.
Oh, no. Yeah. Don't call play. You don't do that. You just get banned.
Unfortunately, more common than we'd like here.
Alone. We're getting big, right? But everyone in chat, you know, if you're still here, you know, collectively, we have the task to keep Challenger chat friendliest. Thanatos, are you okay?
Yeah, he's Malphite. Yeah, he's Malphite. He's just gonna press his L button, get away.
Scoff. He's fine.
And he's just having a great time. You know, he hasn't really had
Flash
to.
As well.
Yeah, he hasn't even had to like get any big Malphite ultimate engages on this game. Like he has not had the task of having to carry this game at all. He's just kind of sitting there. He got dove early on, and his job was to get dove and soak pressure. Not ironically, like actually for real, so that Rahel can get 5 solo plates in the bottom lane and then go on to carry in the next team fight. So he's just chilling. He's riding the bus, as a lot of players do from time to time.
Oh, look at that, Rahel.
That's fine.
He's like, I don't want to risk anything. Because I think he wins the 1v1 against Clear, but we might now reach the point where Clear ults him just so Rahel isn't in the fight. So Rahel buys a QSS, and now he'll be fine. Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
Oh, sad.
Well, he's got a cage, as we do have the solar flare come in, and Sigtab will be able to flash and survive. Thanatos is like, well, I don't have my ult, so I'm just going to stand here menacingly and be Rahel's bodyguard. So that's his job. He can also tank the turret, I suppose, for some damage on their Baron push. The Baron power play, 3,000 gold at this time. It's DRX, you got to make a stand at some point.
Love it. The aggressive the smite rather, making sure that they're scared. But now all outers and inners have been taken. One inhibitor turret gone in the top side of the map as well, but it does mean that the easy turrets now no longer available here for D+. So whenever they want to get the next objective, they do really have to commit. And with that Drake, DRX are still in it. Their base is not in shambles just yet. You know, it's a bit battered, but it's still fine. And if they can get another Drake, if Sponge Summer can get a steal, and they can just kind of keep hanging around in this game, eventually, you know, Plata still has free items. I don't think it's enough. I think Satab really is the bottleneck for me here. He needs to be a lot bigger, and a Veigar behind the curve into full dive always feels very sad.
Yeah, I mean, he can cast his cage.
Yeah.
And maybe that creates some
Into
space.
4 Mercs and Cleanse and Cupid Sands.
Yeah, also,
oh no.
via Malphite don't care about the cage. So.
Yeah, also, even Lissandra, right? Like, as long as Pulbe
yeah,
claws
depends on the
well.
angle. Just pretty rough. Sponge is like, oh god.
No. Well,
the wrong
they have
neighborhood.
one obvious problem, and if they can solve that, life might be okay. Solving the problem, though, is, like, who actually kills Rahel here? Like, how do you do that with QSS and Cleanse up?
Well,
like, you need to get those summoners in fight 1.
He doesn't have Bloodthirster yet.
True.
So maybe that's it. He does have Shield Bow, but no Bloodthirster.
Yeah.
So maybe that can help.
So first, Rahel needs to get hooked or caged or anything. Oh, he is GA. Okay,
He is
well, might just have to go next on this one, Veldas. I don't. That's it. I don't see it. I think the itemization choices from Rahel are great, and I wouldn't be surprised to see D+ just press all their buttons on maybe a topside fight and leave it at that.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see when DRX decide to make their stand. Next Hextech Drake, it's kind of funny that they actually got one for themselves, but the next Hextech Drake, maybe you still wait, maybe you wait for Pleta to get some items. Not going to help that he missed that cannon, of course, but Moonlight Vigil into a backline, hope that DK members are out of position and you can blow up Rahel 100-0 before you can react, and then kill him again after his GA.
Sure.
I guess that's the angle.
Yeah.
Yes, DRX did
It's
have
as good
side
as it
selection,
gets.
because they were from the upper bracket.
Yeah. Would be nice if we get answer from the casters to why is Bible challengers and then sub for the main team. Here can be both. Playoffs are an exception, but generally it's an integrated roster, so challengers and LCK is the same roster. And also Kalen is really good, so right, like there isn't that much. Bible actually didn't play for a large part of the season. Only came in for last week's best of 5, and has been here since.
There you go. There's your answer. We do have Baron here in 30 seconds. You see that Piero and Sponge together trying to do their job of clearing out some vision and setting up position onto this objective. As Thanatos, he doesn't have to last hit. It just dies around him. Sunfire. Best damage item in the game, as Ox would say.
I really hate Sunfire. It's very funny. Yeah, now you have soul points. You're just going to get this Baron. It's more about what can you do with the Baron. I think for DRX there is simply no angle of the lack of map control. Both waves can be shoved in now here for D+ as well, ensuring that you can't contest this at all. We don't even need a vision toggle because it wouldn't show anything.
They're not even, they're just trying to get LDR on Pleta.
Yeah, you have to.
Although, I mean, here comes Sponge. He's going to skip his way into the river And they realize this is happening, but they can't do anything about it. So they're just going to give it up. That is Baron over to DK. Bunch of turrets being thrown on the ground, so at least Pleta's doing that. But here comes the push.
In they go. Oh, get the hook, which doesn't really lead to anything because it's Lucid. Now, waves not super synced here for D+. Wouldn't be surprised if Poolbay goes for an aggressive TP back. As still, Pleta asking for help. Things really wants to get low dumps for what might be the final fight in the game here. A lot of stopwatches here available for D+ as well, though.
This area is out of control, man. It's just insane.
Mercurial done. It's actually just 6 items.
Yeah. 29 minutes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
He's level 17. He's level 17 as well.
Mm-hmm. 2 levels up on Pleta.
God.
And probably 2 items. Yeah, he is actually more than 2 items.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess 2 items. DK, well, they don't have the Hextech Soul. You think they're going to wait for that?
No, I don't think they should. They might, but they really shouldn't. Thanatos.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's been his job this game. Just ult away, actually.
Get hooked and ult away. I do think DRX are doing a great job of defending here. Also think D+ could do a better job of like syncing up their waves and making sure, because LDR is now done here, and it looks like finally D+ gets the memo as well. Yeah. Still have a minute left on this Baron buff, so they're not in a rush by any means. Probably want to wait for Thanatos to get his ult up. Rahel can play this far forward because he has everything up.
Yeah.
And if they win a fight, game's over.
And that's why he's just going to be in the base alone, essentially. He's got Bible right next to him. So he can just push in, give the Baron buff to these minions that can chip away at those Nexus turrets, while the main team is just here in mid. He's looking to siege and probably dive eventually as they try to go all in onto Lucid. Interesting choice as in goes Poolbay. Does have a stopwatch, and Rahel just flashes forward, gets his ult onto everybody, and this game is over. As that is going to be 3 kills already for the Zeri. Will they go for the pentakill angle? Well, your teammate is dying, so they're not going to do that. As where did he go? I don't know where he went. That's going to be the end of the game, guys. DK should be able to take this down from here with 10,000 damage from Rahel on Zeri.
This is where you realize, oh, we could have probably ended the game like 10 minutes ago. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Remember...
Oh, man. I wanted to vote for Poolbay, but you can't. Rahel just played it too well.
Can't vote for Poolbay, you can't vote for Lucid. You have to vote for Rahel.
I think Lucid I do. Okay, well, Velda says no. And let's be honest, Rahel's getting it because way he snowballed his lead, exceptionally well done. And that means, Valdez, that we are not getting a 3-0 either way here. 1 against 1 here, and no reverse sweep angle.
We have a series on our hands.
Woo!
And this game was Zeri.
The Malphite damage is the best part.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. Bible didn't really have to do anything. I think he stunned a couple people a couple times.
He pressed his R button a lot.
He did.
Which was nice, I guess, maybe. Yeah, this was very much a Lucid and Poolbay go in, and then Rahel kills everyone, and DRX just has to take it.
Yeah.
Look at Poolbay's damage versus versus his opponent as well. It's not a lot more, which makes sense given how the game played out, right? And you do see DRX. They had an okay start, but then as soon as Zeri got a couple of kills, game very quickly snowballed out of control. And I'm sure they're going to go back to red side. We'll see whether any team today can get a win on the blue side.
Rahel still has not died on 3 games of Zeri in a row.
Did he? He did die in the Caitlyn game, right?
Yes.
Like once or twice. So his KDA is kind of ruined.
3 games of Zeri.
Yeah.
In a row.
No, I know. I was not questioning that part, but his KDA in general was really dumb. Gen game also went without a death. Don't worry, Valis. I'm always listening to you.
Okay, that's good. 33,000 DRX damage versus 25,000 Zeri damage. Well,
I'm wondering which other AD carry like does this. Yeah, 100% kill stage.
yeah.
51% damage
Hit
share.
400 CS in a 30-minute game, too. He's
Crazy.
just slurping up the entire map. Every creep, every champion, 51% of his team's damage. Unfortunately, these are the games where you have to vote for Boom Boom damage because the entire game is about him and no one else.
I feel okay because I do feel like sometimes there's Zeri games and they actually don't do anything but skate in at the end. Like there was some good aggressive play, but it does beg the question: are we going to not see Zeri be allowed to play anymore? There's been a couple of bans that I think can be deviated from. Also, the Sejuani priority pick here kind of feels like bait, particularly with the Zeri still open. As good as Sejuani is, I do think that she's one of the tanks that really does struggle into Zeri, much more than Vi and Wukong, who actually have a decent amount of tools. Vi is very obvious, but even Wukong can lock it down. Sejuani, not so much.
Well, that was game number 2, guys. Hoping we get a bit more of an even game for game 3 after this break. Hello and welcome back to Challenger League as we are in the midst of one best of 5 to decide who will win 2023 Spring Grand Finals. Currently, DK got Zeri, got Rahel ahead, and won the game and tied up the series. So, will we see Zeri again? What side will DRX pick? What do you think, Ron?
Yeah, it's red side. I don't even know if, unless D+ win on blue side, I think DRX, they are up to like an 80% win rate on red side right now. And I think it will continue because, as it turns out, as good as Thanatos is in game number 1, he wasn't really able to match clear because he had the blind pick. And the Jace came out, and even though Thanatos himself did fine, we also saw that the mid lane was struggling a little bit. And with Thanatos not ahead, he got kind of boomed. And then Jace was a really big problem. And that is going to keep happening because I don't think that DRX, as we do have confirmation, did pick red side, is going to shy away from giving clear counter pick because he's really good. And you know, what we saw from D+ on red side was very efficient, picking Malphite and then banning away 2 picks. And the Mordekaiser from clear, not really as convincing as some of the other picks, but it's also partly game state, right? If the Zeri is fed that early on, life gets very tough.
It absolutely does. And I don't know. I want to see something new. I definitely don't want to see Zeri again. I think that's a good start. The fact that Rahel was even allowed to play that after even what we saw yesterday, but even before that as well, makes me wonder. But yeah, DK have a lot of different ways to win. It isn't only Rahel on Zeri. It was just one of those games that was very convincing because of that as well. So let's see what they go with here on the blue side. Obviously, these two teams are favoring the red side, but DK, this could be their chance to really get a mental edge by taking the next game.
Yeah, because D Plus is completely fine on playing on blue side, right? If you looked at their win rate, not shocking by any means, but still very much great. And for DRX, it does feel like they're somewhat reliant on it. So if D Plus can actually win a game on blue side, I think it would really break the series wide open and would give them a really, really good opportunity here. But for DRX, it all comes down to can they get clear in a great position here. Also, Setap, do note, had a very rough game. Both mid laners here really going from kind of dunking on the opponent. Setap in game 1 and then Pulbe in game 2. As this is very, very optimistic. Just going to blind Xayah here. Wow. I know the pick's great, but that is
but like it's Piero. So
yeah,
he's just gonna play
he's gonna
Rakan.
Rakan. Yeah, 100%. You knew this was gonna happen, so we'll see what the Plus is able to put together. Maybe it's like they go like immediately like Veigar, or I know what else. Veigar Maokai. It's like, well, try engaging on this. Zeri is likely, so with that in mind, it will be the pickup of Vyron, Thanatos,
and Nautilus.
Yeah, wow.
Both of them.
D Plus is speedrunning this draft.
And they slam down Zeri in the face of that. They do not care.
Optimistic.
Pleta is angry. He wants to have a chance on the
I
champ.
want to play Zeri. Yeah, it's so interesting because with Varus still open, you also can't B1 Zeri. Because then you get boomed. But you also don't want the enemy to play Zeri. And this cannon ban is one that I think shows a very big sign of respect for Clear, because we have seen that D Plus is very happy to pick Gnar into this matchup against some of the other top laners, not against Clear, right?
Yeah.
Like, not going to do that. And having to ban that cannon to guarantee yourself a possible Gnar pick down the line is something that D Plus might have to shy away from if they're unable to win the game here. And we will go to a game 5 because at this point, like, whichever team's on red side might just take it all. And DRX, of course, did start there. Rise already taken away. Veigar, I love that ban. Mentioned it earlier. Are they gonna like Swain it up? Just D Plus, yeah.
Pull Swain.
It is kind of his thing. Depends on what DRX are for here, I'd imagine. Can't really blind Swain. That is not a thing.
Ari. LeBlanc still available. Setap might say, well, it worked in game 1. We want to give counterpick to Clear anyway, so maybe I can just blind it here. Wouldn't mind it.
LeBlanc does make sense. And I do really love keeping counterpick for Clear here. I think that he has earned all the confidence. This is kind of fun because it is a pick that can go towards both
Kind
mid.
of fun.
Yeah, it's a flex pick. I don't think
Okay.
I don't think picking it into the draft of D Plus is good. Though,
No,
which is why,
it's not.
because it's Vi
It's
and
also
Nautilus
not a good
and Xayah.
It's not a good blind pick either. This makes no sense. I feel like
Is it
Setap's like,
Swain?
yeah, I just want to play a Kali. Give me a Kali.
I feel like it might be. You can pull out TF as well if you play that. We'll
It
see
gives
whether
you
Pulbe is going
excellent
to...
pick.
Yeah.
You might be a little bit low on the damage in that
Silas
case.
could be as well. Yeah, LeBlanc also fine.
Secretly, Corki is good. Secretly, like nobody knows.
Oh god, yeah, Talia makes a ton of
Talia's great
sense. I
too.
know that the Talia has been kind of dropping in stock, but it's Rakan, Wukong, and Akali. Like you're going to be feeling good about this one. Silas is big into Gnar. That much we do know, and DRX, our team fighting is insane. But D Plus, it's very similar to game number 2 actually, where DRX have like all the hard engage you could look for, and then D Plus is like, I dare you to hard engage on us, and this is a very different direction. And I don't know if I like it more or less. Like the 1v1 is a lot better. I think it buys you a great win con, and you kind of shift away from team fighting into 1v1. But Deep Plus, their hard engage is exceptional. So like actually 1v1 or 1v1ing into their comp is really hard.
Yeah, it is really difficult. DRX, feels like they have a lot of like random carry pieces thrown around that are trying to be held together by a loose mesh of Wukong and Rakan, saying like, okay, if we get ahead, we can just out-skirmish them. But if you get behind, you are going to get destroyed with the strat, okay? Like, I will just come out and say it. It's a very risky draft from DRX. It might work. It is challengers.
It might, yeah.
We always have that thing that we have to say. But I am a much bigger fan of DK's composition here.
The one thing I do love is Wukong Rakan. That's it. Everything else, I'm like, no. If that was a Camille, I'd be like, okay, like it a lot more, you know? But this, it feels kind of all over the place. And if DRX get a couple of kills in their solo lanes and Clear and Setup get ahead, everything will be okay, right? Like this composition will pop off and it'll be very, very strong. But it is very high risk to pull out here. And with how D Plus have been playing, as long as Poolway can keep it together, it's not like DRX were able to generate leads all across the map, right? Up until the point where they were laning, Clear was doing great, but Thanatos was able to keep up. And bot lane was obviously from draft, but still very focused for, or very favored for Rahel and Bible. So good luck with this one, DRX. You don't have a jungler that gets that much done early. So if DK do start snowballing, this game will be very, very tough.
Yeah, I think it's going to get pretty interesting from here on out to see the way this game begins and who will come out on top. Let's jump onto the rip for game number 3.
It's because they're. It feels wrong now that I've heard the timing, because it feels like there's like half a do in there.
Yeah,
it's like the build up to the actual riff, and now I'm all disjointed. We had everything figured out. It's
okay. It's okay. We'll get there. We have 5 games today, so surely we'll get there by the end. Yeah, I don't know. Well.
Oh wow. Okay. A lot of free zeroing happening here, apparently. Double ghost for Plata and Rahel. Like that a lot. Lucid still going for the early aggression on the Vi, has been doing this. And we've seen mostly in challengers. People only pick Vi and then go Sunderer with PTA. The Radiant Virtue and Aftershock build has definitely dropped in popularity, even in the LCK. Team's going back as Bone Blading gets procced, but Naruto should still get a decent end of that trade. Humongous.
Yeah. This bottom lane is... note that both sides actually went Doran's Blade. There's no call starts here that we sometimes see if it's like Xayah Felios or something like that. A lot of respect being shown to both sides' ability to engage. Nautilus and Xayah, obviously a nice amount of burst damage, but Zeri and Rakan, also a nice amount of burst damage. Really depends on, you know, who's got the engage, who sets it up better. And so far you can see both of our supports are undefeated on these picks. So somebody is going to take their first loss on these individual picks between Bible and Piero.
It's really funny to argue as well, because Piero has more games, but Bible has played all his games in playoffs. So like, what is better?
True.
I'm going to go with Bible, because I do think that having that type of record, considering how few games and how high stakes his games have been, is very impressive. As the ward here from Clear actually paying dividends, we'll be very aware of what Lucid is doing. And Clear should be able to get the crash here, which means that Thanatos is going to be stuck catching the wave. And Sponge going to be making his way over here, but they do, I think, see the ward expire there, which does mean... And Thanatos is so full health and as Mega, so not at any risk. And Lucid's like, yeah, I don't want to mess with this. Clear, obviously with that crash, has the ability to roam. And they will spot, and everyone will be aware as
that was cute. The dredge line it's kind of got that thick
it does have a thick hitbox.
That thick hitbox with 2 Cs. So to actually squeeze it in between those 2 minions is it's very nice. Sponge going to control the top side of the map here. Lucid should have known what was going on with his Gromp and stuff. He's still coming up here, and he is on vision. Down a level now on Sponge, who did just pick that up. So I think Lucid should just go to the bottom side. He is going to have Prio in mid. Who could have seen this coming, Chronicler? I mean,
Yeah, it's fine.
It's the way the lane goes, right?
Yeah,
you don't pick a
it
Kali
will
for the
be.
lane, I know.
Well, but still, I don't
is the way
think it'll
it
get.
is.
I think the blind Akali is just
Punishable.
Yeah, and it did pretty, and even just Vi and Nautilus, you're all like, "Ooh, are you sure about that?"
Yeah.
Because they have great point and click RTC, which is one of the very few things that actually deals with Akali reliably. If you don't have that, it's very tough to play out. Ooh, Sponge just out of range of the ward here.
All right, really like that timing. Thanatos might be forced to flash. There it is. Even gets low on health, too. And the wave is pushing away from him, so this is not a very comfortable spot. The one relief, I guess, is that Clear doesn't have too much mana, but certainly not going to be a comfortable spot anyway for Thanatos, especially down a flash.
Ooh, Pulbay walking back to lane here. So we'll pay a little bit for that with some CS. Nice spacing there on the Q. Does get hit by Sataps. Doesn't mean that he can go for a roam as soon as he does hit 6. Bible was also walking upwards towards maybe top, maybe mid, but doesn't really see an opportunity, so instead opts to go back in and heads towards the bot lane where Rahel does have a sizable lead over Platair. So the early game really working out for the Xayah and Nautilus combo. And
Can't actually wait for LEC to start. I was watching LEC the other day, and they had like 1 kill in 33 minutes or something. I was
That
like,
is-
oh man, they've gone full LCK on this one. So I don't know if you'll find a lot of reprieve there, but I wish you the best of luck.
hopefully there'll be a bit more action. Action is
Sure.
fun. Unless it's a Breon game, then not having action is part of the experience.
Whimsy, absolutely. So many of these players are really top-notch, and even if they don't get picked up by LCK teams, they will get offers from abroad. Like,
Yeah,
there is no doubt in my mind.
There's a lot of examples of LCK players, CL players rather, being picked up and just kind of dunking on people in their whichever league they end up with.
Any Noah enjoyers?
Yeah, Noah or Photon, or even Jonghoon, who is definitely one of the crazier players. Even was in Challengers, but has still, I think, been, well, somewhat binary. A great player in his own right in the LEC. And yeah, a Photon is a great example. Berserker, another one. And Berserker wasn't even that, like, he was good.
You mean the LCS Spring Split MVP?
Exactly. Also, a Challengers player who was in 10th place. Now, that was mostly due to his team, so I don't want to call him out for that. But still, if you're a top-tier Challenger player, you're really, really good. Really,
Absolutely.
really good.
Challengers, you know, I don't know where to rate this league compared to the other major regions, but I'd say there are some teams in Challengers that can be competitive with top teams in other regions. Maybe
Yeah.
not top teams, but like at least middle of the pack teams.
Yeah,
you know?
I'd say so.
If
with
you want to play it
certainty.
safe, right? I'm not going to pull a, you know, like Genera would beat G2 or anything like that.
Hey!
But I do think that a lot of these players have tons of talents. They are still very young, a lot of them, and they need a lot more time to get experience and, you know, kind of settle in and become more consistent, I would say. But once they get that going, then it's
Yeah.
pretty much they're flying. What's that phrase? With flying colors.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's good.
Something like that. Yeah. I don't know. We got there in the end. So this game hasn't had a lot of action. It feels like we have kind of slowed things down after the first couple of games.
Which makes sense. I think either team is going to be okay with this. I'd say it favors B+, but we're not seeing a really big switch either way. I think that also when rating the teams, when it comes to hands, I'd rate top challenger teams over any non-LPL or LCK league. But that's not what makes you a good team, right? And that is something why the only time I've made that statement was about previous form of DRX, because they were actually looking really well-rounded and good in macro and whatnot. And that is something that I think top LEC teams should still be way better in. But when it comes to like mechanical excellence, like Photon is a really good example, who's just kind of better than every top laner in the league by a large margin, which he was also a top-tier top laner in Challengers. So that kind of tracks, and has a great team around him as well.
Well, we do have a Rift Herald. It
Being
is up and
started.
available. It is started, and I love burgers. It's one of my favorite things. Sponge is in there, and he actually is able to dodge a lot of the first damage as first blood goes to Zeri. Oh no, so many low health bars here. As did Lucid just steal that? He did.
Oh, he
actually stole it, but he didn't get the eye. Oh man, the target selection
Disaster.
not clean for DK, but I suppose at least they deny the Rift Herald, as Bible will get this. And he will pay for it. Or will he? Full base, full health. He's coming in here. Fight number 2, Electric Boogaloo. No, it's just Bible's going to go down. And that's the end of that.
Yeah, Sponge, if you go for that play, you need to 100-0 Sponge. And they didn't. So they lost. Very, very hard.
He rolled with the punches so well. He's like, oh, okay, fine.
Like the flash and then the follow-up. This is the combo we were talking about. They get 2 people. Thanatos doesn't get to play the game at all. And as mentioned, Zeri in these type of situations is amazing. Talia doesn't have that much damage yet, this early on. So you really need to make sure, and then, yeah, Lucid going in there already tough. Bible going in subsequently, not quite working out. And if they can get a first turbo off of this, it's somewhat salvaged, but like there's 1 plate down on this map.
Yeah.
So,
2004.
and you remember what we said earlier about if the solo lanes do get ahead, then the DRX draft is great. I want you to divert your eyes to the mid lane, where Satan is now fed. And,
yeah. Blind pick Akali if it can just get through lane for free and actually win in CS and then get 2 kills and an assist. Hell yeah, man. Sign me up. Yeah, I'm ready for that every game. If you can do that consistently, man, you should be blind picking Akali more often.
Yeah, I think the laning phase is one thing, because I do think with how Talia has been, like early laning is just not that impressive, but those kills are, that's 100% on D+. And
I think it's 100% onto Sponge as well. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, the engage wasn't 100% clean, but then Sponge was like, you know what? I'm just gonna 1v9 you guys. Like, they were so caught off guard by that. Rahel didn't even get to Featherstorm the engage.
Yeah.
Thanatos basically got 100-0. He didn't hit Meganar. It just took all of the wind out of the sails of DK's entire team fight.
Do note, this is not over by, this is Challengers, okay? We need to be very careful with statements like this is done, this is over, because that's not how this league works.
Over 3-1 DRX as expected.
I mean, that might happen. That's a completely reasonable outcome. That 100% wouldn't surprise any of us. DRX is a great team. They have their composition right now is in a good position, but we need to be very careful with definitive statements.
GG. Stop it! Stop copying. Stop copying casters. You know, one thing that I do want to give credit to is that these 2 teams are our best challengers teams. So when they do get a lead, they haven't thrown it very often.
True.
So you look at game number 1. There was a little bit of lead in the bottom lane, but eventually DRX just took it very cleanly. Same for DK in game 2. And now, yeah, I mean, you're going to get a nice little charge into mid. That's decent, but still down a bunch of gold.
But the key thing for me is I do think that D+ still has a great composition here, and that's why I don't feel like DRX have to throw here. I think DK is still in control of their own destiny, right? I think that the only thing that they really need is 1 Drake. Now, this might be Camtech Soul, in which case you don't need 1 Drake. You don't care. But if it's a good soul, if it ends up being Hextech or even Cloud, I do think that you have to respect, because Rakan and Jax and Wukong with Cloud is very bad. You can't really allow that to happen. Thanatos is behind in CS, but at least
that
he
little
gets
jiggle
nice,
there.
Nice trick. Yeah, Clary's like wobbling. Wobbling.
It's like, I don't know if you were watching when I told Wolf about duck ass.
What?
Wait, don't tell me that you don't know either.
No, what?
Oh, God.
What are you talking?
Okay. It's an emote in Twitch chat.
Oh.
I don't think you can see it on our chat.
Is it the duck?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of
it
that
Duckers?
emote. No, it's not Duckers. It is a very specific emote.
I don't know.
There's also wide duckouts.
I'm not familiar. I do know duckers.
Yeah, duckers is something totally different. Yeah. So anyway,
Thanks for spamming duckers, Chad.
I think that Clear, you know, he was channeling a little bit of that energy, and I just wanted to give a little shout out.
Well, now I need to know what the emote
since
is
Wolf
like.
and I had a nice little
Oh my god,
moments.
the fake one? In our chat?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. How do you expect EUM to go? I don't really watch anymore. It's also not called EUM anymore. It's called EMEA Masters now. But you know, I still
MMA Masters.
yeah. And also the one who, if I'm not mistaken, looked after our dear Noah for us, as he reached ranked 1 and trash talked everyone on the server pretty consistently.
Headshots Pro. I was just talking about a donkey. Don't get me wrong here, okay? The words were said in a very nice and
Only positivity, chat. You
yeah,
know the rules.
positive and wholesome way.
Clear.
Yeah, big trade on the top side. Thanatos baiting him in, and Clear's going for it. He is not going to be able to get the kill onto Thanatos, and he will get 2v1'd. Excellent timing from DK's top side as they do pick it up.
Very nicely done there. Very important kill. Getting Lucid back on the board. Yeah, Noah and Cabby should be able to take any ERL 2v2. I'd agree.
True.
I'm with you on that one. Obviously, we don't get to watch a lot of EMEA Masters or ERLs because the time zone is very bad for us, as now do have the Herald being taken. And as mentioned, we do in fact see D+ still behind in this game. And there is a bunch of really scary spikes here for DRX, who are setting up for this dragon. And this might be a game-deciding fight here. Although I think D+ can also just say, we're not going to fight for Drake. We're just going to shove. And if you don't respond well, we're getting 2 turrets. And we're fine with that.
So that means that DRX have to come over here and
good response.
essentially handshake this fight. Warrior Trickster, very nice. Pleta, he is waiting. And by Pleta, I mean Piero. The
Starts with a
TV,
P, good enough.
the TV is a little bit far away from me. It's okay. Makes sense that it would be the Rakan that's flanking and not the Zeri. And they're just going to take it. DK are like, okay, well, we don't want to fight you here. We don't want to give you the Zeri moments. But that is an Infernal Drake that you're giving to Zeri, Akali, Jax, Wukong.
Oh, it's Hex Tech. Okay. Well,
Oh, man, it's only good Drake Souls this
we're actually
series.
having a great time. Yeah. Only had relevant ones. As no TP available.
Thanatos is dead as they 100-0 him under the turret. Sponge gonna pick up that kill. And 4v1 under the turret. They will take down the turret as well. And DRX, you know, there was a little bit of, you know, getting caught out, not doing much, but at least they get themselves back into the nice lead with this play.
Yeah, Lucid's peacing out, as he should. If he goes in there, nothing changes, and he also dies. That's a chronicler, you know. You're like, oh no, but I want to help him. Yeah, don't do it. It's a bad idea. Just let them go. And
Is this DRX better than DRX in the LCK? No.
Wait,
But
DRX?
I appreciate the question.
Wait, DRX? You know
No.
what?
I don't think so.
Probably not. Probably not. But I could actually see it. If you're like D+, I'm like, absolutely
Setab,
not. He's dead.
he has nothing. And, I mean, it is a Kali, but that's the R button pressed onto him immediately, 100-0. Actually, just no chance.
Clean.
Very clean, I do agree.
Good CC chain. Nicely done.
Yeah, gets Lucid another kill. Some more tankiness. They're going to need him to either R button onto Setab or Pleta later on in this game without dying, so I actually don't mind giving him some money.
Oh, we've seen this more and more. Is the Kraken Slayer Zaya, which I think is so interesting because there's been so many plays that we've seen that only work because of Guild Force. And it does really help when you're just going to be hitting the front line. But in this case, I wouldn't have minded the Guild Force. Might feel like by the point where you're, you know, Guild Forcing, you're dead anyway because of the amount of... And which it kind of is true, right? Like if Clear is on you or Setab lands a Shuriken, like you Feather Storm or you die anyway. Guild Force isn't really going to change the equation. Dignitas clears both these teams. Nice. That's a good first comment. Love that.
Yeah. That's a hot take.
I don't think they're 100% genuine. I hope not. If you are, no. No, I don't think that's true.
But you are entitled to your own wrong opinion. No,
And that's okay. You know,
I'm just being mean now. That's not very challengers of me. I'm sorry.
No, he was joking. But even jokingly, we tried to be nice. As,
Okay, Piero's been hiding on Bush for quite a long time as here comes Setab looking to get the alley-oop and, well,
Oh, okay.
not going to hit the shuriken. And Pulbay does have to flash away. Here comes Bible. He's
Lucid as
ready
well.
and waiting to press his R button, even flashes in onto Piero, who will be the new target and will be taken down by Pulbay as some really nice side lane shenanigans. We knew we were going to get them in this game.
But the side lane is actually being won mostly by D+, which is kind of remarkable, right? And it's mostly centered around Lucid, but this time it's Bible that actually starts and sets up the play. And the cross map isn't really there. And if you can take the tempo out of DRX, like once Pulbay is really online, if you take a bad dash into an E, you die immediately. Pulbay gonna be able to pick up the turret here. And I think that D+ is in a pretty good position to fight for this next Drake. Look at Bible here as well. I think that he's like really trying to get both, right? So goes in, ults Setab, then gets the auto on Piero, then hooks him. Nicely done. And we'll be able to now equalize the gold as we go. And a lot of the gold here that is still there for DRX is on Piero, which obviously not going to be the biggest of deals.
Yeah, Clear's got some in his pockets. As, let's see where we go from here. Hextech Drake in 50 seconds. And both of these teams cannot ignore it. We do have a pretty fed Akali in this position, but Pulbay definitely with him on that one. Sponge, for me, right now is kind of the POG on the side of DRX. We'll see if he can get another POG-worthy engage, or counter-engage, I guess, as you could say, from the last fight. And you can see that Lucid already looking to push up into the enemy jungle and clear out as much vision for this upcoming objective.
Often when Lucid is ahead, D+ looks great. I like this from DRX though. You have the teleport available. Try and maintain the sideline pressure. You don't need to fight for this Drake, right? If you're not in a great position to do so, just letting it go is a completely valid option, although with how they're posturing right now, starting to guess that they're not going to do that. TP comes in, they're committing.
Here we go. Both teams got to get in there as Piero's going pretty deep on a direction. Gnar is going to take it down of all people as Sponge is going to nearly get 100-0, but he lived for so long as they went incredibly deep into this one, and now Setab has easy access into that backline. Pulbay doing a good job of trying to zone him away, but he's kind of alone. Rahel too low, but they eventually do take him out of Thanatos. Does a good job of kiting out the rest of the team here. Pleta, though, on the Zeri. This is exactly where Zeri wants to be. But at least Thanatos is kiting him out extremely well. The boomerang.
He's running!
Going to buy even more time as, oh, the Zap not going to get him. And now he's just going to get out with the Hextech gate. They get the Drake, and the heist is pulled off.
Good enough. They get the dragon. Thanatos gets it somehow. And you deny most of the kills to come over. And this starts off kind of rough here for DRX, but because of both Setab and Clear getting good backline access, it doesn't matter. Rahel goes for a very early Featherstorm, which I think is part of the issue. And then Bible is unable to get the hook on Setab, so Setab does a real number on the enemy backline, and because of that, Pulbay and Rahel aren't really joining, which means that the D+ front line doesn't really have any damage follow-up. So they will be able to, at the very least, get some gold into Clear here. But, you know, you get the Hextech Drake, you're still relatively even, and Pulbay is getting more and more fed. This is a single AP, full damage, which I love, by the way. We've seen a lot of, like, Talias go for not this build, and I'm loving it. This Talia really slaps.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Has some survivability alongside of the Seraphs, so you have ways to survive anyway against like an Akali or a Jax engage, so you've got that going on alongside of all of the damage, so gonna be pretty good. But
Chat,
Still kind of like DRX's position in this game.
come on, if people comment and they genuinely don't know, you know, just give them the benefit of the doubt. Just hold up, Lucid.
Here we go. Okay, Nautilus ult's going to come in here. Bible actually looking for the engage. Yet Pulbe as well, just in case, but this is the kind of thing I feel like you don't really need to do.
Wait, they're just starting up Nash.
Yeah, I mean, they have a decent way to tank it, I guess. Might look for the turn here, actually committing to a teleport. Thanatos' Narbar in a very good spot as Sponge is underneath, and that's the Baron. Sponge decides not to get in, wants to go for the engage, as we do have double Cyclone, gets so much value, but Piero immediately bursts down, and now Setup's all alone, can't do much, has Pleta as well, so maybe Pleta can clean this one up, really needs to if his team wants to have any chances. Lucid finally goes down, and Thanatos,
oh, he's dead.
one of the last ones here alongside a Pulpe. A Sponge is going to tank up that turret, but it does not matter. Pleta picks up the double kill, and they clear out 4 members. The follow-up fight here, pretty good for DRX.
And this is the risk that DK ran when they tried and sneak away. And again, it's Sponge and Piero that start of the fight here. It's Pleta that really benefits from everything that happened afterwards. And I don't know what the Baron power play is, but it won't be good. And they're getting completely caught off guard here by Sponge, right? And we do see again, even though they're able to take down Piero very easily, like Rahel is forced to Featherstorm so early because Satap has his number, and then early flash means that the ultimate from Satap is still able to hit, and then Thanatos there. Yeah, I think him going back in doesn't really matter. He would have died either way there. He's underneath the turret, and there's no way for him to play this one out. And by the end of it, Zeri has got more fed. Oh, Pulbe. Oh, that's a stun.
Charge over some rocks, but the shuriken hits. That is a ton of damage as, oh, not gonna matter. Pulbe just throws some rocks at him and wins the 1v1 in this matchup. Very nice. We did have stopwatch for both players, I think, but not going to use it.
Having played that matchup, like, it's one of those, in theory, and obviously infinitely worse, but more to illustrate, like, in theory, I think that Taliyah should always win against the Kali. But how many times have we said that, and then, like, the E isn't perfect, or the you don't hit the seismic shovel, you miss, like, one rock, and the Kali just dunks on you? Very impressive there for Pulbe, and him being this fed is, I think, the main thing that's keeping them in here, even against the fed Zeri. As if Satap, like, he's 2 levels down as well. If he waits a little bit longer and doesn't take that first E, he might be fine.
Yeah. Take a look at this. One rock and the...
Might be a minion order that actually got the last hit. But with that kill, does give DK tempo and control over this pit.
Yeah, they take the Baron off the map, and now they're looking at their second... well, that wasn't very nice, but I guess it's okay, as Piero is not in a great spot here, gets ulted, and is on the run. Thanatos easily can chase, even gonna flash in for this one. Really want to make something out of taking the Rakan off the map. So now 2 Hextech Drakes, and a push here from DK. They have the...
It's still Baron!
Baron, yeah.
And if Pulbe dies in that 1v1...
Down it goes.
Yeah.
No, they still have it on Pulbe. Okay, wait.
Now it's gone.
Now it's gone. Okay.
Oh my god, they're trying to push this really, really hard.
They're definitely going to get an inhibitor. And
they
it
get
is
out.
not inhibitor.
Okay.
So they will have that on the map for the next Baron, too.
Big. Able to get themselves a second Hextech, which, as we have mentioned, as good as it will be on DRX, if you're Taliyah and you're Xayah get a Hextech Soul, life is not good for the opposing team. And despite how far ahead Pleta looks, the actual difference is like a kill, which actually kind of is surprising. But looking at the amount of global gold that was able to be picked up here, and despite the bounty, Rahel is still in a decent spot. Sure, he's not going to win any awards soon, as I also don't know what that build is doing. I get the Hex Drinker after what happened to him, but I feel like BT is so broken on this patch.
Just build BT.
Like BT Overheal specifically, because it's getting nerfed on live, right? Because of the interaction being not fun. Actually, it's on 13.6 that it happened already.
Now, there's people in the chat that are saying, like, there's no way DK can lose from here,
okay,
right?
chat, stop it.
Remember
Everyone...
the beginning of the game where we're like, okay, DRX is over.
Chat, come on.
FF15, come on.
It's challengers.
And now DK's in an unlosable position, quote-unquote. Surely this is over.
Oh, I love challengers,
it's-
man. If you're new and
it's
you're
very
like,
fun.
wait, what are these guys talking about? Just keep watching. You'll get it. You'll get it by the end of this best of
True,
5.
true.
You'll know. Anything can happen in this wonderful league.
There's no way that, in brackets, winning team can lose from here, right? Yeah.
I would actually love if Bull Bay had gone for...
There are 8 stopwatches? Oh, there are actually 8 stopwatches.
Is it 9 now?
It's 9 now. What am I looking at?
This is... You might not like it,
Did the
Valdez.
blue buff get stuck in the wall?
But this is what peak League of Legends look like.
True. I mean, stopwatch is really strong. That's why I say it's the best item in the game. It doesn't matter that it's more expensive.
You know, I'm
It's
gonna,
still really
I'm gonna make
good.
a hot take. You know what I think the best item in the game is? Control Ward, which is why supports buy so many.
Yeah.
Unlimited
It's
value.
also very good. I'll give you that. Not as
No
good
vision.
as stopwatch.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, and I mean, guess what? Like, Setep has to be down in the bottom lane. DK can try to put pressure onto the Baron without actually forcing it. Maybe get a TP out of Setep, and then you've got your bot lane pushing in. And that's what you get out of getting the inhibitor in the bot lane
My God.
compared to like top or mid.
My favorite part is not Pull doing the most. That makes sense. It's all trap here. But Fanatel's doing more than both Rahel and Bleda.
There you go.
And they're going to start it off here.
Yep.
Vision control is great. There's the wall.
Already. And yeah, just going to try to walk into this one. Setep is here, does not have to TP as
Sponge for the flank again.
I feel like we've seen this before as over the wall we go. The engage not as clean this time around, but let's take a look at Pleta. He is able to flash away. He is getting away from these guys
Stopwatch
pretty well
one.
as 4 members. Re-engage comes in from Piero as Bible in a bit of trouble. DRX able to clean up a lot of the members here, including Rahel. Not as clean as a team fight as the last one. DK might be able to get away with 2 Baron buffs this time around.
So it's exactly the same play, but slightly better. That's an optimistic teleport. Scared me a little bit. Thanatos, full of confidence here, wants to set up for the upcoming Drake. And it's actually the same thing. And this is what we see with Talia very often, but like once you do get on top of her, she can really struggle. Pula doesn't have flash available, so he just gets 100 to 0'd. And Setep has a very late setup here, and actually a stopwatch mania, which very, very funny. And if they have Meganar, I think maybe D+ can try and save their AD carry there, but not going to be the case. A lot of stopwatch is going to be going down. And
Yeah.
look at that. Thank you, Valdez. And,
No problem, Chronicler. Yeah, this is getting very interesting because it just feels like DK have got this in their mind. They're like, okay, we can challenge onto the Barons every single time, right? So we're going to take it off the map. Even if we die like 2 or 3 members, we can keep with that Baron buff. And we can keep this game going.
TP coming in.
But now we're getting into a very late game scenario.
It's messy.
And a lot of people have used stopwatches. Some members don't even have summoners. Actually, most people on the map do
There's
not.
no soul for either team.
This is getting pretty low. Clear going for the flank here, but Obey is there as the smite is good for Lucid. Able to pick it up. Sponge now trapped inside the pits. Doesn't look like he will have a chance to get away, so the team's going to give him up. Because I remember seeing this before. This is another one. As they are collapsing on the right side, the R button pressed onto the Zeri, who does not have flash. And down he will go. Setep trying to go 1v5. Does take out the Talia and has a stopwatch still, but not much else as maybe this is the game-winning push. They have the Baron. There's only 2 members left up from DRX.
And Pleta and Setep both down. That's a lot of your wave clear gone. Clear, yes, he's big, but with this much CC, I don't know if they can do it. And maybe D+, about to win on blue side here.
Oh, it's looking pretty likely with the Baron minions, especially as Clear is going to hop on in there, has the counter-strike. He's clearing out the wave a little bit, but not enough as Thanatos gets back in. Piero is just a lonely Rakan. As we do have respawn from Sponge, but stopwatch is still available. They get on top of Rahel, but he just kites back. And with 5 members up and available, well, I guess it's only 4. It is enough as Pleta gets up and is not able to get on in. That is the end of the game as DK are able to pull it into their lead, even after the way that early game went. And they were the stronger team here in game number 3.
And DRX taking a very rare loss. Let's look at that. All these Challenger fans. Amazing. Cool to see the passion for even the up-and-comers here in Korean League of Legends. Veldas, are you a voter?
Oh, I need to be a voter.
Which I've already put in my vote, unsurprisingly. It's actually kind of tough, I think. I think that Thanatos and Lucid had an amazing game. But to me, what kept them in the game and what kind of brought them back...
For me, it's Jungle.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's got to be. I don't know. Like, because there were some moments where they were behind and Lucid found great angles to get picks in the side lane. He got some pretty key smites at the end of the game as well.
Yeah, I really like the Lucid. I went for Pulbe.
He had a fantastic game. I think Pulbe did as well.
I think it's the mid-jungle too. And to me, that's really cool because I felt like last year I talked a lot about Lucid.
Bible as well, maybe get some looks.
Sure. Wouldn't even surprise me if he ends up picking it up with some of the hooks. But, oh, okay. Oh, I get to ban more people. That's or timeout. Timeout. You get. It's me, okay? If Veldas with it, I wasn't in chat.
Oh,
okay,
no.
I need to. You got away
okay.
with you got away with being negative, okay? But next time you say something, have immediate timeout.
Better than you, mate.
There's our guy. Get him, Ezekiel.
Nah,
don't get him.
Don't witch hunt. Actually,
no, that's bad. But be nice. That's all we ask for. The mid jungle duo of D+ was what made them so good last year, and it kind of sold that a little bit left and right, but this way hasn't happened in a while, and it
there
will
you
be
go.
Pulbe. But I actually, the more I think about it, I love the Lucid vote as well. That is
sure. I think the
two of them.
Yeah. As man, that could have been the turning point in the series as well because DRX were in the lead. They had a comp. They made it through their laning phase. They had, the Jax in the side lane, the Akali in the side lane. I think maybe an LCK team from there who was just a little bit cleaner probably would have been able to pull it forward, but the game got down and messy, and generally, you would favor the team that has Jax, has Akali, has Zeri to win that one, but it wasn't the way. I think DK just, essentially, they hunkered down, they pulled it back as a team, and they played better 5v5 League of Legends. They made better macro calls as well, and that might just be the first stone that is thrown.
Yeah, because that is going to make it a lot harder for DRX to win again, because the red side seemed like the answer, but now with D+ getting a blue side win, really, really big here. And even if DRX do end up winning, right, we might see the swap from D+ down the line. And what I want to highlight as well is what was remarkable was that the composition from D+ felt way worse at 1-3-1, but due to Lucid, which is why I really like the vote, they actually were able to win so many of the sideline skirmishes. Like, some of it was Pulbe getting the 1v1, but like 2 or 3 times they killed someone inside, and that was, to me, kind of turned around this game.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we are going to take another break and be back for game number 4. Welcome back, guys. We are here after DK took game number 3 and the lead in the series 2-1. As it is anybody's series from here, of course, but DK looking extremely strong to come back from a deficit there in the beginning of game number 3 and just looked like a powerhouse full 5-man roster team playing really well together.
They did. And for DRX, I think we need to see some more creativity. It feels like in very straight up standard 5v5 games. Game 1, they were able to win, but it was pretty close. And game 2 and 3, they kind of got bopped in both. And it does mean that even with the mental fortitude that we know this team has, let's be honest, they reverse swept twice, back to back, which is not something you're supposed to do even once, generally. To actually get that going, I think they need something out of the current ballpark. Try and put clear on something crazy. The Akali felt like kind of that, but not really. I feel like Akali is just, as you were saying, Seta being like, I can play this. I'm really good at Akali, which he is, as we saw, but also picked it very face up into Nautilus and Vi, and then the rest of the comp really dealt with it very well. And DRX could afford it against the other teams, but not against D+.
Absolutely. I mean, we said in the draft that we were favoring DK. I think we eventually got there.
We did.
There were some scary moments if you were thinking that DK was going to win, right? I mean, it started off with DRX getting a massive fight. Like, Sponge really kind of smurfed the team fight. He got, like, 4 knockups, avoided all of that initial damage, soaked a bunch of ultimates. So I think that was really, like, the great start for DRX. But after that, it was pretty much just the Lucid and Pool-based show. And then they grabbed their whole team behind them, and they went on to win the game and outscale them and kind of just press their R buttons onto important targets, which we also said was going to be a pretty important part of why that draft was stronger.
As we have the DRX fans here, still hoping, and there's still a shot. As mentioned, we do know this team not want to buckle under the pressure. A lot of fan signs, some Paletta jerseys, and here they are. Game number 4, not quite going their way, but I think with a change up in draft, they can bring us to a silver scrapes again. And then we would have, well, yesterday was unfortunately a 3-0, but we'll have silver scrapes, and then maybe tomorrow as well. And then probably not on Sunday, but that's okay, because it'll still be a really cool final.
Hey, you never know.
It's not... Aw, I love that.
By the way, top lane is very interesting.
That's got to be sarcastic, right?
As well.
That part I don't
Let's
believe.
go, DK.
The Church of Bible, I'm on board with. The top lane, you know what? In this series, it actually kind of has been. It's been pretty good. We haven't had too many resident sleeper Narcasante handshakes. Could be good.
Thanatos enjoyers. There are quite a lot of them. And I saw a lot of people getting hyped for these players and saying, you know, when are we going to see these on a main roster? It's good to see the hype. I love that. These players are fantastic. So maybe someday. Have a lot of global fans at the venue too. That's really cool. As DRX on red side, let's see what they decide to go for in terms of a draft this time, because they were just on the red side, right? And they weren't able to take the win, and the draft was a bit poor in my opinion. So want to see a bit of a change up.
Star didn't feel too bad. It's mostly Akali. Don't do that. And we might have a very different game on our hands. We'll see what ends up happening here. If we repeat the early parts here, wouldn't be too surprised, because for D+, like, why would you change anything? Won the game.
Yeah.
So no shocker there. Can just go for the same setup. Wukong Rakan, we know how strong this 1-2 is. Really good initiation, really good follow-up. If either of them starts the fight, the other one can lock down. And for D+, unsurprisingly, they can just pick the same things, because why wouldn't they? Like, the composition was clearly very strong. And much like Rakan, as all... So...
What are we doing here?
So this part I'm still okay with, but the Zeri to me still feels like something that D+1 should have picked this, because of the amount of lockdown that they have, right? And as good as the teamfight initiation for DRX is, on the flip side, D+'s comp, their single target damage and lockdown is amazing. And I feel like Zeri comps can struggle a little bit with that, as that is a Syndra ban.
Well,
I'm gonna like Ari?
yeah.
Ari or LeBlanc, probably?
Doesn't seem like a Kali pick this time. So
That's good.
I think that's a good choice. I think Zeri has power even if it is into 2 of her counters.
True.
Just because she is really strong.
She's Zeri.
And we know what Platinum and Rahel both can do on this pick. So that is what it is. The Akali was really the, as you were saying, Chronicler, that's really where we had the most issues. As let's see, Talia banned as well.
No,
so
that's worrying.
No Talia for Pol Bay.
That's worrying because it might open up the doors to another Akali. And there is a chance that DRX say, hey, we lost that game, but we could have executed better and it would have been fine. That does happen. I'm personally a bigger fan of trying to shake up drafts, particularly in a Game 5 scenario. As I wonder if Thanatos is going to play Gnar again, guys.
I wonder.
What? But not, wait, what?
There's the Ari.
Now they Lissandra Gnar. I'm a bit confused.
True.
Like, that's D+, like, oh yeah, we've played this exact comp. Like,
DRX
we've
are
played this
basically
exact
teeing
comp.
them up for immense comfort. Now, DK,
What?
will they do it?
Well, of course they're gonna Gnarless. Bulbe plays Lissandra whenever he can get away with it. He's playing it into like one of the most
What if he
notorious
plays
counter
Swain
matchups.
instead?
Well, that is the other pick that actually he is very known for and also is really used to be the main CL counter pick into Ari. But this is a no-brainer. Well, good luck, Clear.
DRX, you had to have known that this was coming, right? So I want to see the big brain response. Because otherwise, is there a big brain response?
It's okay, but I don't think it's great. You're gonna get bullied in early. This is not a counter pick like we have seen in the past, right? For Clear, where he actually gets a ton of dominance. This is comfort, sure. Clear is very good on Gwen, but the DRX comp feels very similar to me to the previous one, where it's like kind of all over the place. Whereas for D+, it's very obvious what the composition does. It goes in, and then it kills one target, and then you lose the fight.
Gwen is very good at avoiding CC and being immune.
Yeah,
so perhaps in a team fight, he can, if he gets fed, throw a bunch of needles, not be locked down, and maybe in that way provide a threat outside of Zeri and Ari. You know, I'm grasping at straws. I do once again kind of favor DK's composition here. As I believe you do as well.
Yeah, it does take away a Vi ultimate target. Obviously, you can cancel the Vi ult with W, but into specifically like Lissandra and Nautilus, I'm like, you still will get CC to death pretty rapidly. And when it comes to the lane, I don't love it as much, but maybe Clear can convince me here. And the DRX comp does have a lot of power. I'm mainly worried because what D+ have is what they have shown that they can play to like they free zeroed KT with a bunch of these comps. They've been playing these type of comps since last year when they were the best team in Challengers for basically the entire year. And then obviously they didn't win finals, but they still got to finals back-to-back and looking like the only team to get back-to-back Challengers finals. So for DRX, execution has got to be flawless here.
It really does have to be. Let's see if they can do what they did at the beginning of Game 3. Could make things a lot easier for them, as they do have some wombo combo themselves. But I think they do need to get ahead. A little bit more onus there, as Game 4 is coming up right now. You were so early.
I don't know, man. I panicked. I wanted to do enough do-do-dos, Brandon.
You were so early.
Yeah,
feeling the pressure.
The look.
It's getting to Game 4.
You're seeing, right? Suspending. Yeah. Bench the caster. I love it.
It's a work in progress. It's we're here at the grand finals, and we still have not figured it out.
And these are the moments where, if you've ever done like anything music related, you're like, yeah, you know what, that stuff is hard, even though what we're doing is very easy. The segue I'm trying to make is that if you see these players and you're like, man, they're bad, it's like, think about where they are. Think about where you are in your League of Legends journey. And if it's not in Challengers, or even if you're in a top ERL, which I'm willing to bet most people in chat won't be, probably still.
There was one.
True. Yeah. That is true. Yeah. We did have the fake one in here for a little bit, but well, in the bet most people are not. So be nice or get.
I am very bad. Smile.
Get bad. But like being bad is fine, as long as you're not being mean about it. We don't care about you being bad at League. Everyone's welcome in challengers.
Sure. Raul has a 11.7 KDA over 4 games that he has won.
That's kind of
all of them.
Yeah.
Casters flaming chat. We're not flaming chat.
We're flaming chat if they're toxic. Okay.
Yeah, we're
That's
flaming
different.
the toxic chatters.
Even sure. Emerald and Wild Rift. Okay, well then you have a
Okay. A little bit of action here.
Little spooky.
Some glacial augments.
Some augmenting was happening. I'm actually challengers. My team just holds me back. Okay, well then you have the right to talk. You know, if you're like gold, but your team is always holding you back, that's fair. Oh, Lucid has flash.
Oh, Satan, but a lot of trouble here. Has to flash away. Charm does come in, but a couple autos will do it. They both flash forward, and response from Sponge as the Frozen Thralls come in, and Polbay flying a little bit close to the sun, but gets another W, and that's it. 2 kills to the mid-jungle duo of DK.
This is why you don't let them play Violasandra.
Who could have seen this coming, Chronicler? Who?
Polbay is playing well again, okay? This is not the same guy that was flanking and flanking and flanking and flanking.
He's no longer flanking, I think.
He's no longer. And this is so cleanly set up, right? Like the Ring of Frost so perfectly timed so that Lucid doesn't even need to use his flash. And then here, the juggling, and crucially, there is no red buff. If Sponge has red buff and he kills Polbay, he might actually be able to like duel Lucid as well, because he has Conqueror fully stacked. But instead, it's a disaster for DRX.
Yeah.
My God.
This is very early on, right? We have seen some 1,000 or 2,000 gold leads here so far, even in this series. So, you know, we have seen some comebacks already, but it's rough, you know, when we said that DRX, they kind of have to get ahead. They have some of these, you know, skirmishy champions that would love to fight you if they do have a lead. Is Thanatos going to hit Meganar here and continue to trade onto Clear, who's doing a good job? But now, instead, Polbay and Lucid have 2 kills. So your mid-jungle duo is now very far behind as DRX.
Yeah, and maybe a dive angle here if Thanatos takes some more backtrack. But look at this. Lucid knows. He's already at the ready. Oh, and he sees that ward being dropped. And so now they know where Sponge is. And ward goes over. Thanatos is fine. Oh. They should know, as we do see Sponge making his way over, because they do have double wards, right? Like Polbay or Lucid doesn't know about the second ward.
Well, he's just gonna face check it anyway. Clear does take a big bunch of damage and ghosts away.
And now the lane state is so bad here because Thanatos can freeze this in front of his turret and then TP back, protect the freeze. And
there it is.
Like Clear's not going to, Clear is not going to be able to actually apply the pressure that you'd want to as Gwen. Look, Fans is like, I'm living my best life.
And that's all he has to do. Just stay safe.
Oh, and what a heartbreaker will be for DRX as well. A team that double reverse swept to get to finals. Was so close last year, was considered the best team and fell down in playoffs. They didn't really do that much a note in summer last year, and then were considered to be the best team by the end of the regular season. Not throughout the midst of it, sure, but by the end, when they 2-0'd KT and D+. And here we are. This game is not over, but if you get 2v2'd killed in the mid-jungle, right? Like in the game that you're down when you effectively are running the same draft, and D+ is playing this level of comfort. Gotta need some real challengers in this one.
Sure, yeah. DK, very comfortable position. It's not going to be Hextech Soul this time.
Okay.
So we might not have to do some crazy fighting over that this time, as we have had for the last couple of minutes.
What a loser's run by DK. Look like we're headed for a bracket reset. Yes, indubitably.
Yes.
Oh, there is
Indeed.
some setup here. Sponge isn't 6 yet, though.
Yeah, Thanatos has flash as well.
Oh, no.
Oh boy.
Oh, no.
Oh man.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Oh,
Yep,
no.
oh, boy.
Oh, no. Who could have known that Pool-based Lysandra will do this? How could we have
Bear's
known?
just dead. Let's see if he can trade something back, as we do have a little zap from Pleta. Bible gets relatively low, but first withdrawal is going to hit Pleta as well. And that is a play going over to 4 people. And yeah. Setup's like, oh man, I wish I could have come over a little bit quicker, but not the case.
All
As
right.
DK this time, they continue getting the snowball going.
I
almost
think,
called it frozen ball.
yeah, this series is done because there's 2 outcomes. Either D+ just win this game, which is looking most likely, or DRX somehow win from this position, and then they win the series because you can come back from a deficit like this. Anything is possible. Thanatos is going into a Gwen. That's optimistic. Besides the better of it. No, DK can lose this, but then I'm 100% in on DRX winning the series, right? Like that's
because
where I'm
DRX,
at.
you know, they hit their power spike,
Yeah.
right? You go down as many games as possible,
Exactly.
and then you bring it back.
Yeah, that could happen.
Remember that.
But the series is over.
You guys, if you're avid if you're avid LCK watchers, remember that KT versus T1 in the upper bracket, or in part of the bracket. KT was winning game 5.
Yeah,
pretty handled. Actually.
They were
in total control. And then Faker basically bopped them on the second Rift Herald fight, which, you know, we always have to fight for our second Rift Heralds for some reason. And KT did as well. They got punished by a fantastic engage from T1.
What about an all or nothing fight for first Herald?
Yeah, that's fine. That's very challengers as well.
Surely that's GG. Nothing can change that. Yes, exactly. Great takeaway. As Herald looks to
DRX
be gone.
Setting up on this one.
They're going to look for the fight.
Thanatos, I mean, they have so much hard engages. I think that went over to the side of DRX as tons of damage. The needles are going through onto Rahel, but the Gnar into the wall, and a front line is created here for the side of DK as down goes the Gwen. Over the wall comes Santap, trying to get some of those shutdowns here, some of those executes, but Thanatos is able to put it down once again. As now everybody is just scattered to the wind. Sponge, nowhere for him to go. Double kill for Rahel, who was so low earlier in the fight, but ends up with 2 kills.
All right. Veldas, I don't do this often, especially not in a Challengers game. But this one should be done and dusted because this fight went as bad as it could have been. It starts off okay because look, they're throwing multiple ultimates onto the wrong Sponge. That's not the real Sponge. But crucial, look at Thanatos.
It was a fake Sponge.
Look at this. Like, hits 3 people, forces the flash and cleanse, and then even, like, as long as you get kills, the frozen thralls do so much in these type of drawn-out fights. Rahel stays alive. Poolbay, I don't know if we mentioned this yet, is really good on Lysandra, very comfortable with playing on the edge, lives till the very end. Who could have seen it coming? 100%, oh, no, sorry, 90% kill participation as of right now. And it's a 3K gold lead this early on.
It's pretty large. It's X-Tech Drake as well.
I really don't often call Challenger games because I've seen some truly outrageous things. And even this game, I could see it happen. But it would be one of the most Challenger things of all time, and it would involve D+. Like flipping a Baron at 20 minutes, that's the crazy part. We're 10 minutes in. 10 minutes? It's a 3.5K gold lead.
We have a lot of items bought here, a lot of mythics already purchased for DK. And we got a second dragon spawning right at this spike, right?
No, let them live. Let them live!
Oh, Sponge, he is a Wukong. Can they 100-0 him? The list ult comes in and down he goes. Poolbay is on a killing spree, 3 in a row. And he has that Everfrost completed, so...
No!
Oh, man. And now they just rotate down bot. Pleta and Piero still here, still looking to fight. They have vision of this. They're just trying to push them away.
They can't do anything. Well, they do have double TP. TP1 comes in. Okay. And now he can maybe contest Dragon. Perchance. Thanatos has a little bit of time left before he can TP in. Satep gonna TP. Okay, there's an angle here. DRX to get a Drake. D+ overplayed their hand a little bit there. Okay, we're gonna give the Drake. I think that's a good call.
Yeah, I mean, a Mountain Drake. It looks like they want to get some gold on the map as this is happening as well.
Yeah, so they clearly messed up, but after messing up, this is the right call, because I think that trying to contest when you're not really set up for it and they're coming off a fresh basis and you're not, carries some risk, and I think if you go for risk averse, you just always win. As,
But does mean that, oh, it's Infernal Soul.
Oh my god. That's bad for DRX, friends. That's real bad.
Oh, man. Well, at least they pick up one Drake, and maybe that can push them over the line to the point where they can actually fight this. But again, it's looking pretty dire. This is the largest early lead we have had in the series so far. And yeah, this is getting very interesting. Rahel going to pick up another plate. As you see, mid, jungle, and AD carry all over 1,000 gold ahead. Although, as I say that, you know, waves are going back and forth.
Just keep doing this. It's so mean. Let Pleta live. Oh, he knows. He knows.
Yeah. No, they didn't blind pick Gwen.
He has cleanse as well.
This was a R5 pick. Too clear.
Don't do it. Say no to the voices in your head. He knew.
Okay, just
Nice. Does it change the equation? No.
Valbun is so salty that I compared it to T1 versus KT. I wasn't comparing it at all.
Oh, wait,
I'm just saying that comebacks happen. No, you don't have to time him out. It's okay.
Okay.
He's getting a little heated for a
There
little
was
misunderstanding.
a little bit
misunderstanding.
of aggressive meanness early on, and I tend to err on the side of caution when it comes to that. But I'll follow you.
I
follow you, Valdez.
No, it's fine.
Bob, I
It's fine.
perma. No, I won't.
I'm just saying
I'm not
that
perma.
comebacks happen,
They do.
and yeah, I was just referring to
oh,
a
there we
big
go.
comeback that
Look.
we had recently.
This is a great example. Look, Berlin. Boop. Goodbye.
Oh, he got bopped real quick.
He got bopped real quick. Don't call our team stupid. You'll get banned. Don't imply other negative stuff. You know, you can criticize them. Like sometimes it feels like we're teaching people social norms, and they shouldn't have to. But here we are, on the internet. What are the odds?
It was an interesting pick, Hibial.
Yeah, we agree.
We were talking a lot about it, you know, just thinking maybe it's for the team fights. You know, you have a lot of CC reduction or immunity as Gwen, so maybe if he gets ahead, he can kind of carry and avoid, you know, Vi, Nautilus, and Lissandra, not to mention, you know, potential Roots and Meganar stuff that can happen. So, yeah, it was an interesting pick. It was a little bit of a gamble. We'll see if it does pay off for them.
Mosquito, easy comebacks. One mistake, they collect the bounties. You forgot the most important zone. DRX are in the comfort zone. They are. They've been down a lot. And it wouldn't even be the craziest challenger things of all time if DRX came back in this one. They do have Zeri, but Zeri is an item behind. Which is very, very tough.
Yeah, we do know that our challenger teams struggle a little bit more with closing out games where they are ahead. So perhaps DRX, if they can hold on, it could be the way.
Don't 1v2. He didn't. Very good.
They do have, you know, Gwen. They have Zeri, a couple of late game carries. You are up against a Xayah that's pretty fed, but I'd argue if the game somehow goes like 40, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Surely DRX can win some fights at that point, but
we're taking Herald
the
without
question
a
is,
jungler.
the question is, you know, when can it happen? Today is not my birthday, but thank you for having.
Fellas, they're taking Herald and they don't even have a jungler. They just took it.
Yeah, they have a lot of map control at this point. So
Chronicle Shave. No hairbats, chat. It's a one-time thing. You shouldn't try to root. This is why we have too many sequels, chat. This is why everything's a sequel.
Yeah.
We don't need a sequel to the hairbat.
Can't get enough of the.
I might
of
actually. I've been
thing.
considering dyeing my hair because I didn't know my barber did dyes, but apparently he does, and
Guys,
I've given it
not my
some
birthday.
consideration. As a happy birthday, Valdez.
My birthday's in September.
Everyone in chat, say happy birthday to Valdez.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Birthday vibe. Yeah. All right. So, DK, with this lead that they have, I think that, you know, especially with Infernal Soul, like if this was something like a Cloud Soul or an Ocean Soul, I think they'd really have to put on the pressure. But for me, if I'm DK, Literally just sit
You're
back
chilling.
and
Yep.
full board all of the Infernals.
Oh, yeah.
And you dare DRX to fight you. And if they do, you should win these fights because you are very far ahead. And you just kind of take fights on your terms, on your vision, and you go from
Seta,
there.
no.
Now, you don't have to dive turrets, but they will. You might be able to. They have insane amounts of pick as Setab, flash, and ult to get away. Even a stopwatch going to be used, as that means he's essentially dead. I feel like if he just didn't stopwatch, probably would have lived, as that is a very nice pick onto
Bounty?
him. And they can go and just collect the Infernal Drake from there.
But they get a bounty.
파랑팀의
They get a
포탑이
bounty,
파괴되었습니다.
Valdez.
Cool story, Chronicler. Cool
They're gonna
story,
lose like
bro.
2 mid lane. Oh, no, not the inner. Not the bot lane inner as well. Oh, D+ have some mercy.
Okay.
Thanatos is 1v2ing.
There is no Baron here, guys.
He's just keeping them leashed.
Yeah.
Oh, the TP.
He's
The
keeping-
overextension, perchance.
Oh, the Zeri moment, perchance.
Okay, Bible's dead.
Yeah, they should give this kill over to the Zeri, and they will try. Sponge not even going to hit him.
All right.
Definitely a good choice, but that is still Infernal Drake
Yeah.
over to the side of DK, which is ginormous.
So hear me out. You get 2 turrets that are at about 20% health, an Infernal Drake, your second one, and all you give up is 1 Nautilus. I'm saying worth. That's a good deal.
But it did go over to Zeri,
True.
so that is a nice amount of gold over to him. Now, Bible didn't have any bounty, but still, 300 in your pockets.
Happy birthday, Valdez. I love
Yeah,
I
thank
love
you.
when first time chat is getting in the fun. Good job, chat.
There was somebody that said, you can't just say perchance.
Why not?
You can't just say it.
It's a word. I think we can.
You're not just allowed to just pull that out like that. That's just insane.
Is it like ergo or per se? This drives people crazy.
I guess so.
You know, per se is a thing in Dutch as well. Which I assume is because it's
Is it this? Is that the same
it's
thing?
Latin. Yeah, yeah.
I
Usually
I
that
guess
means
that's
it's
why.
usually that means it's like Latin and it made its way around
Yeah.
around multiple countries. As another bounty pickup, possibly.
Okay, okay. DRX really reaching here, but I mean, you gotta
I'm
do
reaching,
something,
Valdez.
right? You gotta do something. I don't blame
for
them.
an angle.
As they're just gonna pull into mid lane and go for a little pit stop at the inner turret and take that one down. Wasn't the prediction from what's his face, Turtle guy?
Fast Turtle 3-1 for I think it was for DRX though.
Was it? I thought it was for DK.
No, it was maybe it was for DK if Bible emoted enough, but he didn't emote that much in game 1. But I agree. We need to know Fast Turtle's take on this. We gotta know. We said DRX, yeah.
Person wrote it in their college essay, and the note said, "You can't just say perchance."
Oh, that's very funny. Thank you for the explanation, Kitty Cat.
Yes, DK 3-1. So Fast Turtle actually can see the future, alongside of Prophet Wolf. As
Damn.
we do know, he has some very nice prediction capabilities. All of us 3-2 voters in shambles. It's looking like so far. I mean, DK didn't win yet, but again, this is the biggest lead
Even-
we've had in the series so far.
Even for challengers, this is a toughie. And a note also, a lot of the most high-key challenger moments were also between good teams and not so good teams, although Lucid getting caught, it would be big. And maybe Clear can pull a Dundun. And I don't know if anyone can pull a Dundun. I don't even know if Dundun could do it again if we put him in a position. But maybe you could split push away to victory somehow, but not in the near future because you are very far behind on items.
Well, Lucid and Bible in a really rough spot. They collapse immediately. The cyclone value is insane. Satap pulls it up and backs him! Gnar into the wall! Thanatos gonna put an end to their hopes and dreams as he will take out the entirety of the team, picks up a triple kill, and that is going to be the cleanup for DK and the Baron.
He's just too good. They kill Lucid immediately. It looks because if you kill the jungler here, right, and this is DK making a really big mistake here, not being ready to immediately collapse. If you kill the jungler supporter and you get Nash, you can win the game, 100%. But Thanatos says no, and then this immediate follow-up from Rahel, immediate follow-up from Poolbay, then very clearly identifying that yes, we lost our jungler, but we are still like an absurd absurd amount of gold ahead. So if we just pull the trigger, we should be fine. As that is really worrying to me, and hopefully everything will be okay.
I think it's okay.
Very
we had
quickly.
Piero drop out. He probably just has to restart. Might just be a little FPS issue. We've had some players had these issues in the past. No, he didn't rage quit. No tilt pause. I think he's just having a little issue, and since they're all dead, I think they're going to take this moment to just get a little restart in. Hopefully, I am guessing.
And thus, Veldis and Chronicler got stuck at challenges for another 3 hours. Not
Somebody
knowing.
in chat was like, somebody in chat was like, after that play, Thanatos has like 5 offers from LEC and LCS lined up. Like, with that one play, he just like earned a bunch of offers. I'm sure he had offers before that even happened,
sure
but
he
it's
did,
just
yeah.
making the
a good joke.
contract even sweeter for him. Hopefully he stays in Korea.
Yeah, we have to actually, we were told in chat just now, we have to vote for a series MVP. And that's actually, that's really hard.
I don't know who to vote for.
No, that's what I'm saying. Because my
Maybe
heart tells me it's Lucid. But you know what? It
Yeah,
might
we're back,
also
guys, by the way.
it might also be Thanatos, but it might also be Poolbay. But it might also be
Maybe
Rahel.
it's Poolbay? right?
Ooh,
I don't know. This is so close.
Right? Like I'm leaning Thanatos because I do think that his team fighting is what, like, no matter what, it's been so consistent. And Poolbay had that game one, right? Which is why I think, as good as his other 3 games were, you can because everyone is good, so you can deprioritize him. Lucid or Thanatos, I think, would be the main ones.
Yeah. It's a hard one.
tough.
It's a hard one. Obviously, Thanatos just got himself some more votes with that play.
Oh,
but
God.
For series MVP, it's a different story. We'll have to see.
Oh, no. Oh.
Okay. Oh, it seems like they know. They absolutely
They do know.
But, okay, the turnaround comes in. They try to burst down Bible. Gnar into the wall. TP also used, and they will pick up Bible. That's a kill onto Clear.
Oh, that is just before the dragon spawns.
Infernal Drake would boost their chances by potentially almost a percentage point.
An opportunity for chance, Valdez?
Okay, the re-engage, it is clean! They take out Poolbay. Can't even press his R button.
Challengers?
Hold the phone.
Are we challenging this hard?
Hold it.
Wait, no,
Hold
Thanatos
the phone.
Thanatos is still alive. I'm not picking up.
No way.
Right? No
All
way, right,
Re-engage
guys?
comes in. Lucid's in a lot of trouble, but the damage from Rahel is pretty huge. And so many low health bars. Thanatos! Another fantastic engage. There are so many low health bars. And Lucid and Thanatos might just be able to smack them down with their wallets, as Sitav is not going to get their clear, is very low as well.
Wait.
And he gets the 1 kill, but
Okay.
not the
Okay.
second one, as Thanatos is alone at the end.
It's fine. It's fine. We get it. You're finals MVP. Okay. Sorry, Thanatos.
Sorry.
we
Sorry,
doubted.
Thanatos.
Sorry.
Monka.
Our bad. We get it. We get it. It's fine. It's okay. Holy moly. The call from DK to go in here as well could have been game ending. Rahel also getting very unfortunate timing there, or aiming there. But he flashes in to do as much damage as he can. And then this man's Gnar is not fair. It's just not fair. Like, the amount of teamfight angles he finds are simply ridiculous. Every single time his team needs him to have Mega, he does. Like, his Narbar management is kind of a meme, right? Because, like, oh, yeah, but he plays around it so well. Huh.
More LEC and LCS offers in the pipeline.
No offers. Leave him alone. He's ours. He has the most damage done in the game.
Scouts are reading right now. They're like, okay, I'm going to write this down. Like, they're watching this game.
I already lost Photon. Don't take away Thanatos from me as well. Don't do it, man.
Top lane weak roll, lol. Well, some players are able to shape the game around them, and the 606 Gnar is certainly...
Pop out on the phone.
He's got like 2 phones in his hands.
Oh,
He's on the phone.
No
with
one
both
tells
of the
Steve.
teams.
I've heard Summit might be. No. Hands off him, please.
Zeus shaking his boots. Yeah.
I think Zeus is fine. I think
Zeus
Zeus and Keen are fine, but Thanatos is a player that I've. Whoa.
Okay.
Wait.
Maybe this is the angle, but this time Poolbay is ready. He's got his fingers on the Alt-R key this time.
Oh, he's going.
He's going in, and he might be able to catch out Sponge here. Yep, just going to lock him down with the ultimate. But second follow-up, and Polve will be forced into a Zhonya's, but it is a Zhonya's, so we'll have more charges of that in the future.
I was half expecting Bile to just flash over that wall. He's like, yeah, no, it's fine. We can get him. We can get him. Oh. It's a 10k gold lead. Soul points there for D+, and even though that previous play was very challengers, what's not challengers is D+ then smurfing the team fight and getting it done. Obviously, Polve is series MVP because he understood to avoid the reverse sweep angle.
Yeah, you just got to lose game
You
one
gotta
and
lose
then
game
go
one,
from
yeah.
there.
And he's like, guys, I'll do it. I'll take responsibility.
Yeah, he did have a rough game one, didn't he? Happens to
He
the
really
best
did.
of us. He then went on to carry the rest of the series alongside of his team, so what can you say? Can you really judge?
And that's why, Chet, we hold off on overreactions until we've seen more. Instead of just, after game one, you could be like, oh man, this Polve guy, he's the worst. Man.
And some of you were saying that.
Yes.
I'm not going to say any names.
No,
but
because we banned most of them.
no, it's
No, we didn't. We didn't.
mostly just time notes.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
We should be talking about the series MVP because we still have a game 5. Chat,
We'll see. We'll
even
see.
for challengers, this one is a
You
tough
have been
one.
saying that, but then we did just
Then we
have
did have that
DK
moment,
just
yeah.
lose a couple of people at a big
Yeah, I
team
know.
fight for
I know.
seemingly
And
not the
hey,
best of reasons.
The series is over. Like I said, if DRX win this game, you don't have to play
They're
game
winning
5.
game 5.
It's done.
Hairbet? Hairbet?
No, stop Hairbet. Chat, we don't want Hairbet to electric, I don't know, Barbara Lou? Don't do it. Because it's a barber.
Barbaloo?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Gwen on 3 items and scary is scary indeed.
That
indeed
is true.
she is.
Full AP as well.
He has a death cap. He did go plated steel caps.
Oh no! Oh
Which-
my god! If DRX actually come back from this, oh boy!
Hey man, I'm down for it. It's
Could
only
happen.
11,000 golds.
Here they go.
Here we go. The Recon engage is good, but the follow-up of the damage, okay, it's there. Pleta picks up a kill. Sponge, clone, getting pretty low, but the follow-up here comes out, and the wallets are heavy, and they are ready to smack down and smite down DRX. They only do get one, as
Pleta?
Pleta is going insane. He gets over the wall, as he's being chased down by Rahel. Auto by auto, the feathers get it done. He takes down 2, as Polve and Thanatos live to tell the tale, and might be able to end this game.
Pleta tried to go God mode, and if that gold lead wasn't there, that would have been the most challenger game that I have ever seen. But I think that might be it. Maybe not.
I don't know. I don't think
they
they can
don't
end.
have an AD. They can't end.
It's only 28 minutes in. Yeah, they're going to take the inhibitor
Ra-
down.
Rahel also, like, as Pleta is like going in on him, Rahel actually going crazy. And the key thing here is there is no Meganon, right? So actually going hard on this fight is a big risk. And DRX, I gotta commend their engage chance. Know this, Clear can tank so much, but unfortunately, as we see there, until he gets focused down, goes into far, feels too safe, and then this from Pleta was insane. And then look at Rahel, right? Like no hesitation, gets the double.
The Q right at the end, right before he dies.
If he doesn't get that, that's Nash, right? Because then Pleta can clean up the rest. That's Nash. That's Drake. That's 2 big bounties. And again, man.
How is this game like this when there's an 11,000 gold lead?
Because it's challengers, baby. That's just how we do it.
All right, well, Infernal Soul for Baron.
Oh no.
Infernal Soul
no.
taken.
Wait, Sponge?
DK
on a flank
with almost
Wait, there's no jungler.
12,000 gold.
There's no jungler in the pit.
There's no jungler in the pit. Sponge is going to get into that backline. Polve is tanking so much, and the feathers might just be too much this time around. The Infernal Soul is raining hell upon DRX. And it's only Pleta alive, and Rahel can just chase him down. Even the Infernal Soul helping out with that, trying to outrange him with the Zeri Qs. And he will be able to for just a while, but Rahel doesn't care. He's just stopping the back, says, okay, over the wall he goes. Needs to get a back in if he wants to have any chance of winning this for his team.
This is my favorite chase down, but
I don't think it's going to happen,
it
Chronicler.
looks like that's it.
I think we have it. This is the end. The two Nexus turrets being taken down simultaneously. DK, D plus Kia will be able to take down the Challengers final, the grand final. They are your champions of LCK Challenger League 2023. And what a performance it was, especially in these last couple of games. A massive lead there at the end, and they get the job done, even in the face of all of that crazy team fight.
And this is a team that has made finals 3 times in a row, and will now have an opportunity to do something that no team in Challengers has been able to, which is back-to-back victories. As very tough matchup here. We know Plata, emotional player. He was not the problem. He was not the issue.
They're
that
both
play.
crying.
Oh, and these players, as young as they are, D+, able to get it done here despite everything. Able to, again, be the champions of Spring. Man, Plata. Oh, what a player.
Yeah. Well, that was a really fun best of 5. I really enjoyed it. DRX started off strong, and it was all part of DK's plan. Get them to win 1 game so they couldn't reverse sweep, and then they had their own little like mini reverse sweep where they lost game 1 and then won 3 in a row. DK, it was really nice to see that even through their struggles at the end of the regular season, they came together as a team, made a lower bracket run, and were able to overcome basically their biggest rival in terms of form and ability here in Challenger League in DRX. And it wasn't a 3-2. Didn't have to be that close for them. DK were able to dispatch of them in 4 games.
And for the second time, last year in Spring, they were able to get it done. They were upset by Nongshim. D+, able to get the trophy here. We've been talking about this team for like a year and a half at this point, right? Like, we know how good the top side has been. But what really was the takeaway for me in this playoffs was the glow up that Rahel and Bible had. Bible, of course, not playing for most of the split, but we saw a lot of him last year. But Rahel in particular, man, looking like a completely different player.
Yeah. As you're going to take a look at some of the highlights from this game, it started off with 2v2 dominance from DK, which eventually snowballed into quite a large lead.
And yeah, this is the moment when we were like, oh no. Oh no. The PTA, the early damage from the clone, more than enough. And pull-based Lissandra, man. Like, again, I want to draw your attention to how many of these plays he, like, goes in, draws the maximum amount of attention, and then barely gets out. Thanatos' Nar is, if you might guess, who we voted for.
I even forgot about that one, but that was part of the same game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he had multiple of those.
He had, like, 4 game-changing ultimates.
Yeah, you can't give this, when they're in the form they're in right now, you can't give this team Nar and Lissandra. Like, it's just, you can't do it. And even here, right, when everything looked like, might have been a bit of a mess up, might be a tough one. Oh.
Yeah, and the follow-up from the team too, as you mentioned, that was the biggest thing. Like, the second that comes in, everybody responds. Fulbay is in 3 of them, so is Rahel. And that's really what keeps everybody around, right? You need to essentially lock down the Zeri. And I'm sure that maybe that was part of the reason why Plata was so emotional. You know, he felt like there were a couple of team fights where maybe if his positioning was slightly better. But you can't really blame yourself when you watch this guy on Nar, right? Like, he's just insane. Like, I would never, ever in a million years blame Plata in this series at all, and I don't think he should blame himself either. Understandable, he will be emotional though.
On the contrary, DRX getting to this point, getting to finals, is a humongous achievement for a roster that looked very middle of the pack for a large part of the split, right? And they double reverse swept to get here. A testament to what they're able to do at their best. Oh, this play. Right, like this is what, as Plata, hopefully you can go back to and be like, you know, if that's not giving it your all, then I don't know what is. much closer than the game should have been, as we did point out, with the state as it was. Again, like, watch Pool Bay and how much life he gets out with here. Again, this is like the third time this happens, this game.
Yeah.
Man's positioning on the Sandra is just not fair, and here, Infernal Soul is
He
more than
trades it,
enough.
Yeah. I mean, this was Infernal Soul plus 12,000 gold, and still DRX
still
is like
close.
making it interesting. So in no way should anyone on DRX, you know, feel bad. They played an amazing series as well.
They did.
DK at the end of it was just slightly better enough to take down the series. As of course there will be an interview on the stage, but we will not have that translated because it's time for C4. The last one of the year, or the season.
Of the season. Oh, phew. I need
Scared
another.
myself there.
I need another split at Challengers, Velders, because Challengers is truly it's a unique league. It's not just a community, but seeing these players as well and knowing that if you're really good in Challengers, often you'll be good in the LCK as well, as long as you don't get poached. Everyone, if you're not from our regions, please leave. I know we said everyone is welcome, but that doesn't include if you're an LCS scout. Get out of here. I want to see these players in my league, okay?
Yeah. And we will have an award ceremony here to congratulate DK on their victory. And yeah, if you guys like Challengers so much, why don't you have a podcast like Pog State?
Yeah,
well, we would probably lose our minds more than we already did this season, just
we've
because
worked a lot.
Yeah.
And give some love, everyone. They won't see it, but give some love to the runner-up DRX. Still had an extremely respectable run. Plata still incredibly well played, right? Like, made his way to the LCK as well, got a POG there. Might not have been enough to win Challengers, but getting this close for this roster is already a huge achievement.
They're still trying to figure out the positioning. It's very cute. I feel bad. You can see some of the players still very emotional.
Of course.
Plata, I feel very bad for him, man. He had an excellent series.
Man. And DRX, the runner-up here. That, in of itself, kind of shocking if you would have told us that a month ago.
And we had some people asking earlier in the chat, you know, what do you win from this? Essentially, there is a ton of pride on the line as a pro gamer. You want to have this on your record. Okay, we won Challenger finals. I was one of those champions. You want to get noticed by bigger teams in the main regions and like on the tier 1 teams and stuff like that. But you also get some money and flowers.
And, you know, being in a Challengers finals, it's also a great preparation for your career as an international player. We always talk about how young these players are.
Yeah.
Some in their career, some just in age. And this is where you set your first steps. This is where you can try and kind of be prepared for what competitive league has to offer. Not just the LCK, as much as we joke around, but for any of these players, right, you just want them to have a great competitive career in whichever region that may be. And yeah, I agree. Flowers looked amazing. Really nice.
Yeah.
It's not going to help take away from the sting of losing, but as I assume this is a fact.
Yeah. And the champions, of course, DK. This is pretty huge for them. Every single member of this roster, I know a lot of you guys were super hyped watching them play, saying, get them in the main roster, get them in the LCK, get them into a main region. And that's why we love Challengers, because no doubt eventually these guys will get onto a main roster.
100%.
A lot of them will, and you guys were here. You were here. You saw them
You
first.
know. You can be that
you
guy
had the knowledge.
in chat that's like, oh, I actually watched him win Challengers 2 years ago when they're winning Worlds. You can be that guy.
You could be
That's
that
what
guy.
happened to Damwon.
Just like Valdez with Carria.
Exactly. Valdez was way
You could
out of the
be
curve.
him.
Or me with Pace.
Yeah. You were saying it, and you were actually that guy, like, even more so than the Carria thing, right? You were like, Pays and Challengers, he's so good, he's going to come up, he's going to be a big dude, and he is.
And that's going to be all of you, chat.
In his play.
Just be nice about it, but I know you will be, because you're a Challengers watcher.
Oh, we had a question about Pleta's age. He is 20.
20, yeah.
This year, yeah, his birthday was in March.
Yeah. which for challengers is a little older, but in the real world is not old at all for obvious reasons. As what I'm really happy to see is that something that I was worried about was that I got to see Disney Plus a lot last year, and we didn't really see them this spring split, and I think we really saw a disconnect as well, where I rated them too highly because of how they used to play. And
We're all so happy to see the smile.
He has the little,
Yeah,
little
like
scarf. I love it.
The scarf. Yeah, just regular non-Korean age, 20 years old. He was born in 2003, March.
Yeah.
So there you go. As clapping for themselves, very happy, everybody here on the side of DK. I'm just happy they returned to their top form and actually, you know, were able to pull it through and stay very solid and calm throughout all of the pressure of the playoffs. And
the coolest thing, as mentioned, is that yes, the top half of the map played incredible. I would be shocked if Thanatos doesn't pick up Finals MVP. Although, as we pointed out, like, you can make a case for a lot of the players on the roster. But Rahel and Bible coming on the way that they did.
Let's see. The MVP chronicler.
I would do a drum roll. I'm saying it's Thanatos or Lucid.
Don't be caught off guard if it's Lucid or Pulbay.
Also completely okay.
They also had fantastic series, and, you know, Thanatos did as well, which is why we voted for him, obviously pulling it together there at the end.
Literally.
But let's see. I'm very curious.
I think you can go for everyone, which is kind of crazy. Even some of Bible's engages.
Yeah.
Way he played out the early game, Rahel is self-explanatory.
Is it Thanatos? It's
Let's
Thanatos.
go!
Pog champ. Finals MVP, Thanatos. Very well deserved. I think he had like 2 more insanely game-changing plays than he needed to get Finals
then
MVP.
You'd remember.
Than was required. You know, he was going to get it anyway, but he did like 2 more.
And what's so remarkable is that even in the game that he played Malphite, and it wasn't about him, he also knew that he shouldn't like try to go big, right? This is something that challenger players in particular really struggle with, where they go in too aggressive, they go for the right play but at the wrong time and it backfires. Not the case here.
Absolutely, Lucid set him up to carry. Pulbay did his own bit of carrying.
Yeah, 100%.
If Game 1 had not happened, I wouldn't have been surprised if, you know, Pulbay even
could have gotten
it as well.
And that's the cool part about this roster. And it used to be just top side. This playoffs, bot side came and conquered many of their direct opponents. Well, any, because they won. I say many, but I tell a lie. It's just any.
Well, they did lose to KT.
Yeah, you're right. That's true, actually.
That did happen.
Yeah.
The lower bracket run due to KT throwing them down there, and then they clapped back with the 3-0. They're like, no, we're better than you now. Yeah. And they were. Exactly yesterday was when that happened. So and then they came in and played another best of 5 today. It's not easy.
No.
These guys were able to do it.
No.
I hope Thanatos gets promoted to the main roster. Who knows?
It's tough.
I would like to see him get a chance. Like at this point, I'm not one of the guys who's like, get Kana out of there. Thanatos is so much better. I don't think you can really say that. Like Challengers LCK is definitely very different. Thanatos obviously showing a lot of promise, but Kana is very reliable. He did a great job throughout the regular season. Maybe he was a little bit disappointing to you guys in the playoffs, but it doesn't matter. I think that Kana, in a lot of people's minds, especially in the team, will be more reliable. So maybe give Thanatos some chances over the course of the regular season. You know, maybe throw him in for, you know, a couple of best of 3s and see how he goes. And if it goes really well, then maybe you begin to mix him in.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised. C4 is Caster and Chat Community Corner, which is what we do at the end of every broadcast to hang out, you know, to close the stream and to thank you all for being part of it. And this time is also to close out the season.
Yeah. Pleta instead of Duckdown might be another look. I mean, Duckdown was great, but
yeah, I
know,
feel
Pleta
like
was also very strong.
Duckdown himself is not the issue, but there's definitely a bot lane issue for DRX, which we'll see what happens in summer, right? Teams can very substantially change down the line. But
Sure.
there are many players in challengers that I'd love to see that should get a shot. And as much as it pains me to say it, if it's not in the LCK, then in any other league, because these players are really, really talented, and you just want to see them succeed. What did you guys have for dinner? Pad Thai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's actually still a little bit left over. I'm going to go finish that now.
Oh, I was able to finish mine in a
Nice.
too short amount of time, but I got it done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was very good. And, this may be the end of the spring season, and there will be a very long off season, of course. There will be MSI in the middle and all that fun stuff, but we'll be back sometime in June, probably.
Early June,
for
like first, second week, maybe?
Yeah, for LCK and Challengers, which is
yeah.
going to be coming back, and you'll see us
Don't
here
you
once
worry.
again. So don't be too dissatisfied or unhappy during that time. And, of course, we will have MSI for at least some League of Legends, some top-level League of Legends.
Oh, yeah, there's 2 more days, right? It's not done. You're not going to have withdrawals from Korean League. That's Monday.
For Challengers.
Yeah, that's Monday. That's when you get withdrawals, because that's when LCK is also done. But tomorrow, we have a very early call time, which that's going to be a fun one. Will be the KT versus Gen.G series, which is the lower bracket finals. And then the winner of that goes on to face T1
What?
on Sunday. What?
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 I don't know. I'm not convinced that T1's just going to take down either team.
Well, I know you think that
I will
KT
have
is
to
going to make it.
predict. I will have to predict T1, regardless of who goes through. But like I said before, you never know. Like, what if we go into tomorrow and Gen.G claps KT 3-0, or the other way around?
True. Yeah,
Maybe Gen.G figures something out. They got some like new pocket pick. I don't
Maybe.
know. They look so much better than they did
So
against
what you're
T1 last
saying
time.
is it will be the same as Challengers
What biased
bracket.
casters? What did we say that was biased? Nothing we said was biased.
So this is really. I'm gonna maybe I'll tweet about it at some point as well. So what I love about this is sarcastic. What I love about internet discourse is if someone has an opinion you don't agree with, they're biased. That's not what that word means. We're gonna put it out there. Bias
He's
is if you are. Well, no, I know they are, but if you see someone use bias incorrectly, call them out, because it's not an opinion you disagree with.
yeah.
And our only true bias is Challengers.
If
'cause
not
we love
bias, then hater. Guys, this C4 was very short. Unfortunately, it looks like the interview was probably
Sorry,
just
everyone.
one question to everybody. But we are done for spring. Thanks to everybody
So
who
much.
did follow us, and we always enjoyed chatting with everybody who was nice or otherwise in the chat throughout the entirety of Challenger Split. And it's been a pleasure to see all of these Challenger players coming up and making a big name for themselves. And hopefully they continue to get better over the year. And, of course, we will see them in Summer of Challengers as well. But until then, here at Challengers, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.